Howdy ho, fellers.
Hi.
So I was in the middle of telling Lee, so I'm just going to start off with just horrible stuff. The first couple things are going to be kind of like, haha, bad luck, but the last two are pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, Nick, so Lee, so I had an appearance at Bullfrog Nutrition this weekend. So I flew in Friday. I get delayed 3 times. I land in Detroit because even though the appearance was in Ohio, it was in Toledo. So flew into Detroit because it's closer to Toledo. So land, the person that picks me up from Bullfrog Nutrition, the brake, she just got her car back from the fucking auto mechanic. Okay. Her fucking brakes go 3 minutes after she picks me up. So we end up stranded in a Starbucks parking lot.
Well, Starbucks. What a coincidence.
It was that was the silver lining, is that I got stuck in a Starbucks parking lot. And
did you get Starbucks?
100% I got Starbucks.
And was this the Starbucks parking lot with a different Starbucks girl?
Yes, this was a different Starbucks state, actually. So if they're in different Starbucks states, they don't count, apparently. Actually,
Okay.
holy shit, she's downstairs. I gotta be careful.
Shut up, man.
Oh, look at guy. He's gonna be
Totally forgot I had
He
company.
censored himself now.
Yeah, right. So go to the event, right? The next day I fly out. There was no direct flights. I had to connect in Washington. As soon as I connect in Washington, dude, I turned my phone on, flight canceled. Like, just first thing that popped up on my phone. And I'm just like, why, God? Just like, why? Get into the airport. All the bags start coming down. I see all the people from my plane. They're there getting their bags. Never got my bags. Never came. So I sat there for an hour. Then I had to file a claim. Then I went to the Avis, and I was the only one who was a preferred customer. So there was a fucking line out the door, and the preferred Avis line was empty. I walked up. I didn't even get fully stopped. And the guy goes, "Sir, preferred line, come here." I was like, yes. So they gave me, in a monsoon, Lee'll love this, a Ford Mustang.
Oh yeah,
convertible in a fucking monsoon, dude. Okay, anybody knows anything? It's a rear-wheel drive car, not something you want to fucking even remotely drive in bad weather. I'm sure Lee has.
Knowing you didn't drive it sensibly, did you? Did you try get on it in the wet?
Of course I did. So, long story short, I got home at almost 4 in the morning. Took me a little less than 4 hours to get home. And they returned one bag. I still don't have my bag with all my merchandise in it, all my 8x10s. I have to leave on Friday for Houston for the American Fit Expo. I don't have anything. So kind of pissed off. Now, this is where it gets kind of creepy. When I was driving home, I probably got out of my car 3 or 4 times to piss on the side of the road. And every time I got out of my car, I was like, I got to be careful because so many people get fucking smashed stopping on the side of the road. Okay, no big deal. Got home, and then I get a text at 6:45 in the morning that a kid I played football with in high school, and that I've known since I was in 2nd grade, had a brain aneurysm, and they were trying to stop the bleeding, and he probably wasn't going to make it. And he's still alive, but from what I heard yesterday, he's not doing good. Then, Lee, this is the fucking crazy part. There's a gym in Miami called Flex Appeal Miami. Have you ever heard of it? I don't know if you have Flex Appeal.
Yeah, I
have. Nick has. So, and Nick's met them before. So the owner, Jesus, who I talked to, well, I was actually at his booth the second day at the Arnold the entire day. Him and his wife were fucking going to their log cabin in the Carolinas, and they got a flat tire. So I don't know if they had a flat tire, but something was wrong with the car that made them pull over into the emergency part of the shoulder. And there was a fucking drunk driver going over 100 miles an hour and fucking smashed into the back of their car and killed him on impact immediately. Like, absolutely just fucking. And then his wife ended up in the ICU. And when his daughter called me on Sunday morning, the wife just got out of the ICU, Maria, and was told that he didn't make it. I was like, Jesus Christ. And I was like, and I got like, the back of my neck stood up, like the hairs on my neck, because I'm like, I was out of my car 4 fucking times last night and pissing on the side of the road. And I fucking said that every time I got out of the car, I was like, people get smashed fucking stopping like this. And I'm like, I cannot fucking believe that she called me and said that. It was like the fucking, just like the heebie-jeebies just took me over. I think, Nick, I texted you like within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've had one fucking hell of a 24 fucking hours, dude. Like you've got Lee, you have besides a amazing track record, you have a pretty amazing like driving record, driving cars. Like what you must have seen some crazy shit like on the tracks and just on the road.
Yeah. Well, on the track, you would see some crazy stuff, but it wasn't too bad because, with all the safety gear now that comes with, when I used to do like the Super Late models similar to NASCAR and road racing, you got roll cages, harness devices, stuff. When I raced the dragster and won the championship in that, you're so belted in. You got the 5-piece fire suit, you got the roll cage. Your arms have all tabs that come off them. So when you got the 5-point harness on, even your arms are stuck on that. So if the dragster rolls, your arms are just tied in. So you're pretty much locked in like that for the whole ride. So
Nick, did you ever take those like a race car, like a racetrack like that, or like go to like one of those places like Eagles Canyon in Texas or something?
No, I haven't, but I live literally up the street from a racetrack.
So tell Lee what I won't have to pull this up because Lee is like a car Nazi. He knows everything about cars. So unless he wants me to pull it up, tell him the car you just got, because you had to be better than me.
Oh yeah,
I got the Challenger Red Eye, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's
because I googled him here. The Challenger. What's the one under that?
It's just a Hellcat.
The Hellcat. Well, the Hellcat. I sent you prices of the truck. The Hellcat here in Australia is like $320,000.
No way.
Dude, my truck, he sent me a price. Hold on. He texted it to me the other day. And I was like, Jesus. I was like, how do you guys live out there? Like, that just doesn't make sense.
Seriously.
I think your truck was like 275.
This, can you guys see it?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I see it. Vaguely.
200.
291.
Yeah, 291.
That's what it costs in Australia.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's $291,750. I paid for that truck. I paid 97 and change for my truck. And they took I had a 17 Rebel that they gave me 33K for. So that 33K knocked off the 97. So I ended up getting that truck for like fucking 60. So it was like not bad after when it was all said and done. So that's why I was like, it's a great deal and I love the truck. So
do it. Yeah.
That's what I always say. If you want to have a good laugh, just go to carsales.com.au and pretty much whatever a car is in America, 3 to 4 times the price here.
That's insane.
Why is that?
Yeah, literally.
We've had just all the fucking crap taxes the government puts on. And then we had a thing called a luxury tax where we used to make cars here. So people were buying cars from overseas because they were cheaper at one stage. So they put the luxury tax on them to put them up so high that you'd buy Australian cars. But now we've stopped manufacturing cars, but they never took the luxury tax off. So.
Are buying houses the same? Like, is it expensive?
Oh, yeah. Like in my neighborhood here, because this is like an older neighborhood, they've still got like the old weatherboard homes and the brick homes that were probably built 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Because they're on big lots, like a real big yards and that. There's a house down the corner, like the paint's coming off the weatherboard. It almost looks like you have to demolish it and just build a new one, which a lot of people are doing. It's like 1.4 million for a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom weatherboard.
So wait, so what is like, what's average? I mean, I could look it up, but what is like average wage out there? Cause that's crazy, dude.
I think the minimum wage is going up now. I think it's around $26.75 an hour minimum wage.
I think what's minimum wage here? Like 15?
I think it was like 15 or 16.
But even then, it's like the way our housing prices are going up here, it's crazy because you have auctions in Sydney and they're like going for like crazy stuff.
Yeah. Hold on, let's see.
Jesus.
Look up home prices in Australia.
I'm going to look up.
Even like Sydney, you couldn't afford it. Yeah.
I heard
A
him
lot
sitting
because
there.
these
Let's
yards
just
are so big here. A lot of people are knocking the house down and putting in 5 or 6 units.
minimum wage, New Jersey, 14.13 per hour. Okay, min.
Australia.
Oh, it's $10 more, but that's still
I
$10
think it's
more.
actually just gone up like a month or two ago. They just put it up.
Really? Yeah, well,
Mhm.
yeah, just June, it updated June.
That might have been what they put up to then, isn't it?
And what do you want me to look up? Vehicle prices?
Just put in carsales.com.au. And it's good that you learnt this, Guy, because I was watching your previous shows, and when you're all looking at the screen, I'm thinking, this guy know nobody else can see this.
So this is what well, this is fuck, you had to go there, Lee. So so this is the thing. You can see it now, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Put in a car.
so
What
could
car you
Nick,
want?
so could Nick, and so could Justin. But I didn't know until it came out that nobody could see it on the other. I had no idea, I had no clue. So there was a setting on here that I had no clue about that you had to click off that our tech guy told me about. And I was like, why didn't you tell me when you were editing these fucking things that like, hey, we can't see the fucking screen? I was like, I'm getting roasted on.
I just thought you didn't want to show anybody.
I'm like, Jesus Christ. So go ahead. Where am I going here?
But actually,
I don't
type in Challenger.
Yeah, type in Challenger there.
Just make
Dodge.
Dodge. Faster.
Shut up.
You're confusing. This is like when I scroll, but it's like when I feel like one of those forms for my age. I got to keep scrolling until I get to fucking 72. Oh, that's nice.
What's going on here?
What's that? Like a quiz?
You gotta complete the puzzle, man.
Oh God, it's going to be hard for him. Fuck.
What the? Oh, I've
Oh,
never seen.
You even fucked that up.
I've never seen this before in my life.
It's an IQ test.
This is ridiculous. Oh, here we go.
That's an old one.
Oh my God.
That's just a wide body scat pack. That's not even a
That's not even the fucking good one.
Nick's like, I'm gonna buy Dodges and send them to Australia and sell them.
Hell yeah.
Nick said it's not even the good one.
Yeah, find the good one.
Scroll down.
Up the top there. Go back to the top.
Oh my God. The hell, that's a nice one.
The top, what, the 73?
Yeah, now go back up a bit higher and it says preferences, doesn't it? On the side over here where it says like you can go from highest to lowest price.
Oh, refine search. Oh, price. Here you go.
Yeah, go highest to lowest. You got to put a price in that one, do you?
From
It'll just come up the way it is. You have to put $400,000 to $500.
Jesus. 10,000.
There we go. What's that one? Hellcat.
That's the wide body scat pack. So that goes up 50 grand just having the wide body
and that's
on it.
2020. That's old.
Yeah, and that's
old.
Yeah.
Keep going. Oh my God.
Oh, we're getting up there now.
Well, that's the Hellcat. The SRT is the Hellcat. That's the Hellcat. That's 389,000.
Oh.
Yours is going to be yours probably doesn't exist out there, Nick.
Nick's thinking, fuck.
2012.
I'll have to win a couple of Olympias to buy a fucking Dodge in Australia.
Dude, a
Fucking
20,
right,
a
damn right.
fucking 2012 with 84 kilometers on it is 100K.
Get the fuck out of here. 2019. No way.
I would take this over all of them.
You look up. You want to look up something now? Look up Corvettes in Australia.
Like older style vets.
I'll just put in Corvette. You'll see the new one and the old ones.
Yeah, how much is a Corvette out there? Like
Oh, you have a car.
600?
He's got a vet too.
How much did you pay? 600?
No. I just prefer. I drive my Aston Martin now. They say he comes to wanker as I'm driving down the street. I put the windows down. They see a guy with a tattoo on his face, and that throws them off. And then when I play the James Bond movie, they just think, what a fucking wanker.
How do I change this, Lee? Is it just
Just go back.
where my new cars.
New search.
Come on. Where's Embassy Porsche? Or am I looking Corvette?
Corvette. Yeah.
Chevy.
Where's the Chevy?
Where's Chevy?
You guys don't have Chevy?
You might have to go to that section and type it in.
Yeah, that's a very luxurious car. You got to search for it
yeah. What the fuck? Where?
in the search button.
I don't see it. This?
Where was the first page you put the Dodge in?
I can't. It's like nowhere to be found. That's what I'm looking for
Just keep clicking the back button.
until I find it.
Yeah,
Yeah, come on.
there it is.
And that again.
Restart.
Start
And now
over.
he's going to do that puzzle again, is he? Fuck.
All right.
Yeah,
so-
we're at.
No, man, it's not Dodge.
I need. I know that.
Cherry.
There we go.
Cherry, they're like a Japanese car that are pretty big over here.
Corvette. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Let's see the prices of these bad boys. Oh Lord. Oh. And that's a 2018. That's a badass looking one though.
The Z06.
Mhm.
I think it's fucking nice.
Is that already? Oh,
These
there
are
we
one of the
go.
newer
Yeah.
ones.
Oh,
248.
Lee, do you like the newer style? Like I
No.
I'm not
No.
a fan, man. I'm just really
yeah.
I like the
I
old
like the older. I like that older Z06 model way better.
yeah,
284. Lord.
insanity. I don't even care about these new ones because they all look the fucking same.
They look
It
too
looks
much
like
like
that.
a
Looks like a
look a bit
look,
like a
Look at
Ferrari.
this thing.
that's bad.
Yeah.
Yes. 320 for that one.
Nick, you wouldn't even fit in that. So fucking take a hike or this. or this.
Or that. Or this.
Like I said, even some of the older Corvettes here, the prices on them, you'd probably pay under 10 grand in America for like a 92 Corvette. Here they're like 40,000.
That's crazy. And Lee, so when what did you drive when you were racing? Because you owned a couple of race cars.
Oh, just like the one was based on a Ford body and that, but the Dragsters was a super comp and a alcohol dragster. There's a big photo of me on the wall over. You can't see it. I'm in a Valvoline dragster smoking the tires up at Las Vegas on the start line.
How did you get into
That's badass.
well, hold on, Nick, were you always into cars? Because what did you drive when you were in Jersey?
I drove, dude, I drove my mom's car.
I was going to say, I don't even remember you having a vehicle here.
You actually made fun of my yellow car. Do you remember?
Yes.
You were like, what the fuck is that? And then you come out, when you come out of your truck, grown men drive trucks.
and then we hugged and became best friends.
Yeah, and I pull up in a yellow Subaru.
Now you got a fucking car that's faster than mine just because you think you're cool.
Yep.
But when did you become like? Did you just become a car connoisseur?
Kind
like,
of. I say with a, I became a car guy probably like when I was actually able to buy cars. So,
Yeah.
and because I was able to get like obviously things that I wanted. So the more I was able to do that, the more I just got into it and did my research on stuff.
So you have your dream car.
I did. My it was the Corvette. That's all I
Yeah.
wanted.
I remember you
Growing up.
saying that. So that's like that was your dream car. Lee, you have that Aston Martin now. Is that like what is that your dream car, or is there like a car that you would trade that in for?
I've always wanted Aston Martin because I like all the James Bond movies. I used to have one of the Lotus Esprits before that, like from the other movies he did where it went underwater. But I've had them all: Corvettes, Dodges, Dodge Viper, Viper truck.
What's your
I've been through
favorite?
so many-
If you or
Actually,
how about
out
this?
of
Top
out of
top
all
three.
of my cars,
top three.
Nah, man, I want
Number one.
I want number one.
Yeah, but I
Number
want 2
one,
and
you'll
3
be
because I can't
surprised.
afford one.
No, it's actually good. My number one pick for best all-round vehicle that I'd love to have now, but the prices here are crazy. If I want to get a decent price, is my H1 military Hummer.
Yeah, okay.
That thing
Really?
could go anywhere. It was fast enough. You could go mud, water, sand. Like it was just go anywhere type of vehicle. So
I always
I'd
want.
say that one.
I did always want a Hummer too.
Yeah. You got to have the H1, the H2 and H3. They're like
Yeah.
shit.
So
But the thing was, when I got my first H1 Hummer, it was just the diesel. Then they had the turbo diesel. I was at World Gym one day. I parked it there. Arnold come with his Hummer, and he's like, "Oh, you got one?" And we were talking. He's like, "Take mine for a drive, turbo diesel." I'm like, "No, I don't want to drive it." "No, take it." So I took it for a drive. I come back. I'm like, "You fucker!" So 2 weeks later, I had the turbo diesel one. I'm like, "Did you get your fucking commission from Hummer?"
how many horsepower was that? The turbo one?
I think it was that much, but it had a lot of torque and shit and that. But I just liked it because it could go anywhere, and you just felt safe in it because it was just so.
Yeah.
I was about to make fun of you for having the Hummer because it's horrible on gas mileage, and then I bit my tongue because I was like, "Wait a second, my TRX
Yeah,
is
your
probably
TRX
just
is
as
shit,
fucking
bro.
bad."
Look, anyone that loves cars, if you love a car, you don't give a fuck about the fuel prices. You drive it because
No.
it brings you enjoyment. Look, if we worried about fucking things we love and spending money, we'd all be fucking single.
Yeah,
Because you think about
True.
how much money you throw at that.
I know.
This is true.
People like my mother made a comment to me the other day. She's like, "You really gonna keep that fucking thing?" And I was like, "Yeah." I go, "I actually get in this thing, and I fucking love driving it. Like it doesn't matter what mood I'm in. If I get in that truck, I'm like, I'm in a better fucking mood. I like being in my truck."
That's how I feel with the Challenger.
Have you opened that puppy up yet?
Of course.
Zing, zing.
Oh yeah.
Did you
Zoom.
Have you done what I've had my truck for a year? Lee's probably going to make me fucking talk me into doing it when he's here in October. Did you hit the launch button yet? Because I have not done that.
No.
You know, there's the launch button on there, right? Like you can
I haven't touched
put your foot
launch.
on the brake and then you rev it up to the RPMs, let your foot off and fucking zing zing.
Yeah, no, I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, Lee, Lee, I'll make you a deal. I won't do it until you're here.
Okay, that's almost like when I used to do
Because if we crash, at least we can go out together.
Yeah,
we'll go out
you'll
together.
probably survive, and I'll probably come out like Steve Hawkins.
My luck is I was in that truck once, and it was when I first got it, and I was bringing it to get wrapped, and it's when I first didn't realize how fucking fast it was, and I was making a turn. And
the back end goes.
Well, no. And then like I wanted to like pass somebody. So I like floored it and the fucking thing it took off and then it fucking fishtailed because I like wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
And I remember coming at an old couple and just remember they had white hair and I just remember seeing them go like this. And I thought I was going to fucking take him out and I missed him. And I was like, oh my God, that was horrible. I was like, I'll never do that again.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I used to love in drags that have the trans brake button. So like the Supercomp drags, as you're sitting there, once the Christmas tree starts lighting up, you just floor the accelerator and you got your finger on a button on the little wheel you got. And that's all that's holding it. So as soon as the light goes, you go lift your finger off the button and you're off.
Is that really what it is?
That's why you'll be floored. You'll hear the motor going.
I'm nervous.
Let it go.
I'm nervous.
How
like
fast?
Under alcohol drags, the same as top fuel, you're pulling like 5 Gs and you're going. That's why I laugh with Teslas. They say you can go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. You can go in the dragsters, you can go from 0 to 100 in 0.8 of a second. So it's like being shot out of a cannon. You got 5 Gs on you when you pull the parachute. Then you got -5. So you.
What's your best time on the track?
5:25. In the alcohol drags, there's the top fuels when they're doing the full quarter mile would be in the high threes. Now they're around. You might get a high. I don't think you get a high freedom, but the low 4 seconds, and they're doing what in the quarter because they cut it back. They're doing like 320, 30 miles an hour.
Nick, can you?
No.
Dude, I get up to like 120 in my truck and I'm like, holy shit.
I hit the brakes.
He's going 200 miles faster than us. I would literally, there'd be my fart shit separator would fail. There'd be fucking poop in my pants.
And the funny thing was, right, I'd done the road racing, so I used to going around corners doing this, circle track, and they get in the dragster because he was a fan of mine, Rod Fuller. He used to race Top Fuel. And he's like, are you interested in drag racing? I'm like, I am, but I don't really know anyone or follow anyone. So I'm like, let me go and follow you around. For 2 years, I followed him around, watched him race, drove his car. So I go get your license. I'm like, okay. Now, the hardest thing is when you're sitting in a dragster, you got that little butterfly wheel thing. There's just
Now,
the hardest thing is when it
is there paddle shifters?
does it all itself.
Okay.
So once you're in there, I like the stock cars. They got a shifter, but dragsters and that it's just all go.
Oh,
And
okay.
the
Yeah, I
top
didn't know.
fuel
I didn't know which ones we
dragsters-
were talking about. Okay.
Yeah, well, the top fuel dragsters, I'm not sure if they toned them down, but they used to be 12,000 horsepower, the top fuelers. So you're like, when you're in there, you got this little fucking butterfly wheel, and you got there's like 20 major steps that fuel, this and that you got to run through it. When you first do it, everything's just so fast. But when it takes off, because it takes off so quick, your main thing is to grip on. But doing that speed, if you're holding that tight, you do a thing like that and you're into the wall. So it's like you got to have a firm grip, but not too hard. So you got to hold on, but sort of loosely. So you
I have so many, Nick. I want to fire off so many questions right now. I have so many questions to ask him. So do you want to ask him something? Because I have so many I could ask him.
No,
right now.
go.
How do you build up to get to that speed? Because you can't just put somebody behind there and be like, "Hey, hold on,
Well,
we're gonna
in a drag-
go
We're
320.
gonna
We're
fuck shit up right now.
We're gonna fuck shit up today. Let your thumb
But in
go."
a dragster, like you do, you learn everything about the cockpit first and this and that and all this. But then when you first go to do it, the only thing you'll do is the burnout and move up to the staging area. And then next time you might only go 100 feet, like do the burnout, take off, but then slow down straight away. So you go increments at a track till you finally do the whole thing. And then, like I said, the first couple of times you do it, it's just like everything's a fucking blur. You can't fucking, but when you get into it, it's funny because everything does slow down. It just seems like you can see if someone had a cigarette butt on the track, you'd actually see it because
No way.
yeah, you can slow down. Yeah, it's true, it slows down. But the funny thing was though, with the dragster, because they're long, some of the
My hands are
tracks you
getting
go-
sweaty.
Some of the tracks you go to, this would make you sweaty or make your ass pucker because some of the older tracks, once you cross the line, you pull the parachute and then you go to the shutdown area. But back when these tracks were made, the cars weren't 12,000 horsepower or more. So, and with a dragster, once you cross the line, you got this big brake. It's just like a big lever. And the thing is, if you're still doing a bit of speed and you pull that, the dragster starts bunking like a Bronco. So you got to get off the brake, wait till the car settles down, then pull it again. If it starts doing this, that happened to me a couple of times.
Almost like like when an airplane lands, like when it bucks.
Yeah, like the car would just start bouncing if you get on the. So you got to stop it bouncing. You got to let the brake go and let it just come out of it, and then put it back on again. But the funny thing is, some of these tracks, the shutdown area is small, so you pull the brake, it's let it go, and we're going fast again. Pull, and all the time you just see the end of the track getting closer and closer. You're like, fucking stop! I don't want to go into the sand and into the catch net. So.
Have you ever had a close call or crashed?
No, the only close call I had was up near Palmdale. They have like this place across a fair way away, whereas there's a quarry. And on windy days, sometimes the loose sand would get blown onto the track a bit. And they got that stuff on the track, which is really sticky, but you get a little bit of sand on those tires and it's. So I had a guy once, I could see him at the corner of my eye. I sort of seen him lose it. So I got off it a bit and he came straight over into my lane. So.
Oh, and he almost took you out.
If I had kept going, I would have collected him, but now I saw him in time to back off.
So do you not do that anymore? Is that not something that like
I did have it because I was sponsored by Lucas Oil and Toyo tires and all that. It's like anything. You just saw the car prices here to race here.
But you
Yeah.
still go like even on the circles, you're still attending car shows. I mean, constantly.
Yeah, I go to car shows and yeah, because once you're retired like us, Guy, my wife tried to put a damper on me when I had my fastback Mustang. And in like 2 months, I won trophies. I said, this is fucking great. I said, all those years I had to diet and train. I come here now, I park the car and I win a trophy. She's like, you're not winning it, your car is. I'm like, well, who do you fucking think cleans the car and looks after the car? I said, don't take my glory away from me.
That's all you got left.
Yeah.
What was the transition like from bodybuilding to retired life for you? Because I grew up watching you, so it's funny to sit here and like see you like wearing my shirt like for Uprising and like being the fact that like
greatest product out there. If I don't feel like going to the gym, like
Oh,
one of these, no
Nick,
pain, my focus. Hey Nick, if you need any, code priest. if you need any. Okay.
See, we can't. We did one podcast talking about this, and people fucking got so pissed off. It was
Lost their minds.
unbelievable.
It
Why
was,
is that?
Because
You
they were
talk
like,
about
how?
your own product.
They were like, how dare you promote your products? I'm like,
What
Well,
else
Bob,
would you-
Bob Ciccarelli did that to Dave Palumbo. He's like, Dave's sitting there like a snake oil salesman with his products on the table pushing. I'm thinking, well, it's his podcast, it's his products. Why wouldn't you push your own product? It's
I mean,
like,
if you're a good businessman, you would, I mean, at least throw your products in the mix when you're talking. I mean, that's what good, businessmen do. I mean, I don't know.
what you're supposed to do?
Yeah. I mean, so, but,
but you're not doing it today, guy. Let him fucking bitch.
I knew, Nick, before you came on, I told Lee, I said I was going to grab the hoodie out of my closet, and I go, I know Lee and his loyalty. I said, he's going to wear the fucking Uprising shirt. I said, so I'm not going to wear the same thing. So I put this on instead. And we got on, and I was like, I fucking knew you were going to wear that shirt.
That's awesome.
And it's not even paying me. That's what I hate too. When people say, oh, you only say it's good because they pay you. I'm not endorsed, but I've said a lot of products are good that I was never sponsored
I just
by.
sent them to you to try because you were fucking, you were in a lot
I
of
actually
pain. I
gave
was
them
like,
to
try
me
it.
in Vegas. At
Yeah.
Olympia, you gave me some and they were great.
Oh yeah. Yep. That was the first time
Yeah,
you
like-
tried them.
And also, the simple thing was like, if a product's good, I got no problem saying it's good. If it's bad, I'll say that. Muscle Tech didn't like that when I was with Muscle Tech, did they now? They're like, we'll take you to court. I said, take me to court. I still say your product's fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I had a 3-year contract with them, and after 8 months, I said I want out because I said, your product's shit. I said, here's an ad in a magazine where it says, Lee says this is the best product. I said, you haven't even given me a fucking sample of it so I know what it is. I went to a seminar and this guy said, that new product, what's it really like? I said, what product? The one you're in the ad for. I said, I don't fucking know. So I called up Muscle Tech. What's this new ad? Oh, yeah, you advertise. I said, well, shouldn't you give me the product first so I can actually try it? So it went on like that. When I got out of the contract, Dexter comes over and he's like, oh, you're funny, Lee. You're funny. He goes, wished I could fucking get out of mine. I said, just do it. Do it. Because I've always been under the belief, you know what it's like when we started bodybuilding, buying proteins and food, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then heaven forbid, too, you got a girlfriend at the time or a wife. Are you wasting your money on that shit? You got to hear all that bullshit. So I've always been like, look, people work hard for their money. If I'm going to say something's good and get you to spend your money on it, I want it to work. I'm not just going to say this is good because somebody's paying me. I've never been that way and I never will be, because I remember before I got suspended, I was making like 18, 20 grand a month with sponsorships and all that. Once I got kicked out of companies and shit because I just left, I went down to probably 4,000 for a while. People are like, oh my God, that's a big drop. I said, yeah, it is. But I said, look, even getting 4,000 a month, I pay my rent, I got food on the table, and I still go to the gym and train. So I'm still happy. Then other things come along.
What, now that you're retired, because and I've heard you say it before, people are always like, Lee's broke. That's why Lee's selling his fucking trophies. That's why Lee sells this. That's why Lee sells that. Lee doesn't compete anymore. He's broke. Like, obviously that's not true. So what is your life like? Give people a little insight as to like what your life is like on a day to day, because I know kind of what you do based on the fact that we were on the circles for a very long time together. So
I have no idea what Lee does.
Say so that, and that's, and I think,
Fuck all.
but if somebody said, how does Lee, like, if somebody says, hey guy, like, where's your income come from? I could say, well, these are my sponsors, my coaching, my clothing, like this is, yada, yada, yada. When people look at Lee, they're like, well, Lee doesn't really promote coaching. Lee doesn't really like go to a lot of shows. Lee doesn't do this. But Lee, but
Like,
Lee,
if you get me started on gurus, you two will get mad. So don't talk about gurus.
wow. Wait, why did I get mad?
I just hate gurus. I don't hate them, but I just think professional.
I don't think did you think I was calling myself a guru?
No, I understand like
Oh.
amateurs. I've always said, look, if you're first getting into training, it's good to have someone show you the ropes and that. But it's like anything. You learn your body. No one knows your body better than you. So I just figured, you need a good support team. Yes, you need a good training partner. But everything else is like, if you came to me, Guy, and you're still competing as a pro, and you said, Lee, I want you to get me ready for a show, I'm going to look at what you've done before and go, yeah, that's pretty good. I'll give you a diet now and send you away with your diet and your supplements. Now I'm just going to have to go by feel. So how you feeling? Okay, take this, put this in, take that out. How you looking now? You're feeling? Okay, add this in, add that. I'm thinking, you can do that yourself.
So
And
most of my
when
I
Delette
mean-
lived with me, I said, "Delette, why do you use Chad?" He just said, "Because I'm fucking lazy." He goes, "Lee, when you go to have lunch, you always decide chicken or steak." He points to the paper he had on my fridge. He goes, "Chad says I need to eat this." He goes, "I don't have to think about it."
so I think for me, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for Nick. That was the reason why I enjoyed having a coach, not because I didn't believe I could get myself in shape, but the stress of
Didn't wanna
overthinking
think
and
about it.
over
Yeah,
analyzing.
it takes the thinking out of it.
Oh yeah.
Because
And
Nick,
that's
if
the
you
worst thing. I tell people all the time, that's the worst thing. I said, we all know get ready for a contest. You love training. So training's never like hate training or cardio. You do it. I said, it's about thinking about the food or even just the mental side of, I've looked in the mirror one day, you're like, fuck yeah, I can win the show today. Tomorrow you can look exactly the same and you're like, fuck, I look shit. It's like the whole mind games is the
Yeah.
worst physically, and that it's easy. Mentally is the hardest part of getting ready for contests all the time.
because
I
I mean,
agree.
Nick, if you had to prep yourself for a show, I'm pretty confident that you could probably get yourself, if you wanted to, 80%, 80 to 90% of at least where Matt gets you with no problem.
Yeah, I
Right.
think it comes down to like the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like now you start overthinking, you start overanalyzing, you start doing more when you shouldn't. And that's where I think people make the most mistakes.
I mean,
And
that's even more so the last week.
Well, yeah, even the
Oh.
last week. Well, I'm just talking in terms of like where people of mine usually are those final 4 weeks. It's kind
Yeah.
of like, okay. But yeah, do I think there could come a time when anyone could get themselves in shape? Yeah. But it's those final few weeks where it's that's what really matters. And if it's like if you fuck that up, there goes your whole prep that you just went down the drain. So having someone guide you, it takes the thinking out of it.
Yeah. Lee, do
Especially
you,
that last week. I see so many people that last week where
well,
I
hold on,
never
before
did
you
it.
say that, because hold on, because this is going to follow up to what you're going to say. Do you think you would have won more shows or been better if you would at any point hired a coach? Because I know what you're going to say the last week, it makes or break you. And if you did a lot of this stuff yourself. So do you think having a coach at any point would have done you any benefit?
No,
Why so?
because the judges hated me to begin with, so it wouldn't have mattered. They're like, "Hey, there's that."
I'm
fucker who
talking.
said
Oh, no,
that
no.
thing."
I'm talking about your physique, though. I'm not talking about like.
Yeah, but they're still going to judge me.
I'm not talking about you.
They're still going to judge me.
But I'm talking about your act, like you, as far as like your physique on stage, how you look, not
No,
necessarily like
no.
your placing.
Not really, because I'd done everything myself. I had done lower carbs, higher carbs. Look, I only used growth. 94 and 96 were the only times I ever used growth. I never did insulin. I was always just basic Anadrol, Dianabol, Sus 250, Primobolan back then and stuff like that. So Harney wanted to get married that time, and I know he hated the story when Harney was like, "Lee, I want to help you," and he wrote out. He's like, "Well, your diet's good, your training's good," and he wrote out this cycle of like 6 or 8 different drugs before the Night of Champions. I'm like, okay, I took probably 3 different ones, and Mikey Blonde was living with me at the time, and Harney would come over to check on how I'm going. So you're following the program? I'm like, yeah. Never followed it once. And then I did an article once, and they said, "How did Harney want to help?" He said, "Well, seriously, he just wanted to give me a bigger cycle." He's like, "You can't say that." I said, "Well, isn't that what you did? You didn't do anything else." So, yeah, but I never like I said, when I used to get ready for shows that last week, I said I tried every combination of things but I got to the point where if I look good, because most of my photo shoots I do 2 weeks before the show, because after the show I just wanted to eat, so I do them before. And I've always said, because how many times do we see guys post pictures a week or two before, and you're like, this guy's going to win the show.
Yep.
Come the day of the show, you're like, what the fuck happened? Because I've always just believed it's like, I always pretty much died at 16 weeks. About the 12-week mark, I was pretty close to contest shape. And that way I just play around with a bit up in carbs and that, just see how I looked rather than do it. Because I've always believed that if you get ready for a show from week 1 to week 15, you're
Yep.
training pretty much the same. You're doing cardio. Your food's pretty much the same. You might up and down a few little things, but pretty much you're like clockwork, like this robot,
Yeah.
eating the same time, training. And now this last week comes, people stop cardio, they stop training, they change their drugs around, they change their food. So your body that's been this fine oiled machine for 15 weeks, this last week, you've jumbled up. Of course, it's going to react different. And generally, sometimes it goes for the worse, never the better.
Yeah,
People would think,
I agree.
Nick, we talked about training up until a show and stuff because earlier in my career, I would watch the masses and they would stop a week out from training. And then
The whole
what
week.
I do back in the day, I would stop about 4 or 5 days out. Yeah. If not Monday before. That was like a thing people did. They would stop a week
Really?
out to let their body heal and let the like stress and let the water out from, training this and that. So, and people would stop training sometimes 2 weeks out back when I was coming up.
2 weeks.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, seriously.
I'd get bored and start eating. I'd be like,
It's crazy.
For real.
But
if my show was Saturday, I'd train on the Friday. Nothing crazy, but I'd still go to the gym, light weights, and just really squeeze it, almost like you're training and posing at the same time, just to keep things moving. I just couldn't sit there and do nothing.
so that's what I started to do. I said, fuck it. I look better the more I stay active. So I started so the day before the show, I always did like a shoulder or arm pump just to do something, or like even do that and like go walk around a mall inside just to move around. Instead of, because some guys just sit in their fucking hotel rooms and they get up, they go to the kitchen, they eat, and they go back to the couch, then they get up, they go to the kitchen, they eat, they go back to the couch, they get up. I can't, like, my body don't look good if I fucking just do that all day. If you're somebody that's active and used to go, your body is not one that's going to do good when it just fucking sits around all day.
Well, what Matt usually has me do now, since the shows that we do now are 2 days, the Thursday before the Friday show, we don't do nothing. We chill, we pose, whatever. But then Saturday before finals in the morning, usually after a first or second meal, we'll go to the gym and do like a little pump before finals.
Oh, really?
And I never used to do that.
Now, do you still pump up backstage?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Matt, I got a story. So actually, what was it at the Olympia? Everyone was pumping up, and I'm kind of just standing there. And Matt's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm chilling." And he's like, "Are you gonna pump up?" I'm like, "Little secret, I don't really pump up. I kind of just chill." Really? Yeah, I never really pump up. When I start pumping up, when they call us,
when you pose.
And when we're about to go up and then the stairs you got to walk up, I'll do a couple of push-ups right on the stairs and then I go up. I never know.
Lee, what about you? Pump up backstage?
I was like 20, 30 minutes before I'd start pumping up. For one, I was just bored.
That's
laying around
crazy.
backstage. So I'd get
You didn't get flat at all?
Bro, if you used to watch the pay-per-views, Lee would be fucking pumping up fucking for 45 minutes at the Olympia.
I'd having a good workout back there and stuff like that. So I remember Chris too, because he'd always be like, I'm unassuming. So even like at the Ironmans and that, I'd always have black clothes on, but really baggy. I'd go into the toilets, put my trunks on, put oil on under the clothes and put them back on. So I just slouching around and start pumping up. And that when the top comes off, come in, you'll be like, where the fuck did that come from? It's like, fuck.
How was the camaraderie with you guys back then? Because you hear so many conflicting views about fuck that guy, I hate this guy. But everybody knows who I hate. So there's only two people that I can't stand. So everybody knows who they are.
Well, I wasn't in the clique, when because this young kid, I was 19, 20 when I came to Golds and got my pro card. So I was sort of on their turf. So like, who's this young kid? And because they're Chris Rico and Flex were all in their group, and Flex even admits he was a bit arrogant back in those days and stuff. So they never really talked to me. And I remember one time, even when I got second to Flex at the Ironman, Sean Ray was helping him. He comes over and goes, "Buckley, you're looking good today. You might beat Flex." And Flex sort of heard him. Flex comes over, he goes, "I got to agree, Lee, you do look good, but because of who I am, I'm going to win the show." I went, "Yeah, okay."
So the one, the press conference, you'll know the year. I don't know if Nick ever saw this.
2003, but I gave Wayne the letter.
Yes.
One.
So, okay. So
it's on YouTube if you look it up. Lee Press.
Is it? So I'm going to tell you tell me if I'm wrong, and I'm going to try to reiterate it in my mind. Lee had complained about the competitors, and he believed that no matter what you placed at the Olympia, that you should receive some sort of compensation for being the best in the world. Am I so far correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Lee wrote a letter about demand, like about what he wanted to change, and put it on paper and signed it and dated it and put it in his pocket at the Olympia press conference. By fucking dumb luck, who was it that was speaking back then? Was it Wayne D'Amelia?
Wayne D'Amelia.
Was he the one that was like had the microphone?
Yeah.
And brought that up and said, well, Lee, if that's what you want, feel free to, put your thoughts on paper and hand it in.
He said too, he goes, Lee, and you said if the athletes don't get money, you'll stand up and walk out of here and that. So I said, well, as a matter of fact, I actually wrote it down on paper, and I stood up, walked over and handed it to him at the podium, and he read it. Then he's like, okay, that's fair. Okay, then. I spoke to Kerry Kays. From today on, everyone out of the top 10 will get $2,000.
Was that just that year?
I think it went on for a bit after he ran out. Because I always said to him, I said, I think at the beginning too, I was saying to Wayne, I said, you call this the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. I said, how can you call it the Super Bowl when guys out of the top 10 train just as hard as me, and they're going home without even $1 in their pocket? I said, it's just stupid. And I remember the year before, Milos brought something up. And Wayne's excuse was, put it in writing, put it in writing. That's why I had it already in writing, because I knew he was going to say, put it in writing. And that's when I was with Cappy then too. And Cappy didn't know I was going to do it. And she was competing. And when I stood up to hand it to her, she's like, oh, she's probably thinking, there goes my placings as well.
I'm sure I would have thought the same thing. Why is there so much hatred a lot of times towards you if there seems to be so much good that you try to do? Because between that, and I know unless you're just a down low scumbag that nobody knows about, but a lot of the stuff that you sell, the money goes to animal shelters and rescue shelters.
All the trophies I sold, the money went there, because you know what it's like if you're moving and that. And I'm an OCD person like you, and having all those trophies out, having to dust them and clean them would be shit. I kept my racing trophies. I kept like the Hall of Fame award here and some plaques, and I got one over here from law enforcement. That guy gave it to me at the Olympia for supporting law enforcement. I got abused for that. You support the police league? Yeah, no, fuck off. And I got like Rookie of the Year and all those things from racing. I kept them. Oh, this one up here, you can't really see it. President Bush made me an honorary Texan on this day.
Oh, I remember. Yeah,
really?
I remember. Yeah,
that's dope.
I got a letter from the Queen. I kept that in the frame. But no, any other stuff like that, because people would ask me, do I have stuff to sell? And like I said, it's been in boxes from America to here. It's still in a box. Some were broken. I'm like, well, they're just wasting thing here. So I sold them off, gave the money to animal shelters. But then it's good because some people brought them. It's at the gym. A couple of other kids brought them, and it's like they send me photos. Here's your trophy in our gym, giving us inspiration. So I figure, well, that's better than keeping it in a fucking box at home. If it's inspiring somebody else, why not?
I know Nick's answer, so I'll let him answer it. But
you don't know my fucking answer.
Yes, I do. You want me to text it to you before you say? I
do actually.
And then just change your answer anyway, Nick, just to piss him off.
Nope, that's not it.
Think of a number between 1 and 10. Don't say it. 7. You're going to play that game? Was I right?
All right.
7?
Lee. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to hit send yet because I want everybody to know when I'm going to hit send.
No, you got to hit send.
I'm going to hit send because I'm going to ask the question first.
All right.
So, Lee, with your career, now I said with your career, and I said I'm going to ask Nick, but I already know the answer, and that's when Nick jumped down my throat. Okay, Are you satisfied with your career as a bodybuilder when you look back at everything you accomplished? Are you satisfied? If like because your career is over since. I'm laughing because I know you read it. Look, like my career is over, right? And I'm looking back, and do you ever go like, I should have done that, or I had that opportunity that I didn't take, or if I would have done that differently, maybe that would have happened. Like and I hate saying regrets because that's a strong word that people throw around that I don't.
Very strong word.
People realize what it means, but just, is there anything you would have done differently if given the opportunity to do so? Not necessarily a regret.
The only thing I'd say I would have done different would be off season, because we're so regimented contest time and that, I'd get up to 285 in the off season, and people are like, oh, you're fat, why are you getting so heavy? I'm like, I got time between shows. I enjoy eating. But on some of those days, I might only eat 2 meals. So maybe I thought, maybe if I had been more regimented in the off season and actually ate 5 meals or 4 meals, I might have been a little bit better, but it didn't really bother me. But anything else? No.
Was that an all the time off season thing, or was that just like a phase you went through?
Well, if you have a big bucket of Kentucky and all the sides, you're good for 5-6 hours. I'm not hungry because of all the fat. So, just like I wouldn't eat for that amount. I'm one of those people too, like I see you out chopping your fucking wood, doing your garden, whatever else you're doing, you wanker. It's like, if I started doing that at 8 a.m, I wouldn't eat till I'm finished. So if that
wait until you're here, bro. Wait until I'm going to have, it's October. That's wood chopping season, bro. I'm waking you up early. We got shit to do, dude. This is a fucking.
I get up at 4 a.m. every day. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you're going to be in the States. You're going to be all fucked up. You're going to be all.
I'll be jumping on your bed, waking you up.
I got a lock. And a gun next to my bed. Don't fuck with me, bro.
Cool. I just see that as foreplay.
But Jesus Christ. After what I know your wife has done to you, that's not even fucking funny.
Or what she wanted me to do to her. That's the
that too. A whole nother fucking episode, a whole nother channel.
Has your girlfriend ever asked you to stab her, Nick?
Stubber?
Stab.
Oh my god, no.
Stubber?
No.
But now let me ask you two guys now. I thought it was a perfect match. The first night, we'd been talking online for a long time. It had been like a month before even seeing a picture of us. I was thinking, I met her on Plenty of Fish, that dating site. I'm thinking,
Plenty of Fish.
Yeah, my mates are fucking with me because they know I'm on here. But when I finally saw a picture, I was overseas doing an appearance, and she sent me this picture. I said, oh no, she's too pretty. This has got to be a setup, because all the ones I got before that were like, 6 kids and all that sort of shit.
Water buffaloes.
Trailer boy stuff, trailer park boy stuff. So, but when I met her and I was coming back, she goes, well, why don't you just stop in my place on the way home? I said, it's going to be late. And I said, I might not be midnight. She goes, I'll leave the door unlocked. Now I'm thinking, this is a setup. I'm going to go in here and get fucking jumped or something, So I'm thinking too. So I finally got to her house. I went in, I played that. I'm feeling a bit tired and sick, so I didn't have to perform and have sex or anything, because I wanted to make sure it was right. But then we got in bed. I'm like, I feel like it a bit. So as I'm laying in the bed, I put my hand under the pillow, and there's a fucking knife under there. I'm like, that's different. So we just start having sex, and then she's on top of me, sitting there, right, we're having sex. She leans down, puts her hand under, comes up with the knife. This is the first night we've been together, first met in person.
I would have been out.
She sits on me with the
Hit
knife.
the fucking road.
And she hands it to me. She goes, I want you to cut me. I'm like, what? She goes, I want you to cut me. Now, I don't know if I was jet lagged or whatever. I took the knife and said, okay. And I went like that across her chest. And it was that sharp, she started bleeding. This is what she did. She looked down.
You cut her?
Yeah. It was one of those like hunting knives. I didn't realize the blade was so sharp. So just like a not deep one, little, so you can see the red come up to the blood come up to the where I did it. Then she looks down at me and she goes, I love you. I'm like, what? She goes, I've always wanted a guy to do that, and they were too scared. But then as we got talking, she goes, you know what else I'd like? I'm like, what? She goes, I would like you to stab me and then fuck the hole. I'm like, I have sex in the hole I made. I said, but say if I go too deep. She's like, well, don't go deep. Just make like a pocket. I said, how the fuck do I make a pocket? She goes, I want you to make a hole and go where no other guy has been. I'm like, well, that's romantic. I said, let's just say this happens and I stab you. Not deep, but I stab you. And then I have sex with the hole I've made. I said, look, if I take you to the hospital, I can explain, look, she fell over on the knife, something
What
happened.
about all the jizz in the fucking wound?
Yeah, that's what I said. How am I going to explain when they say, how did the jizz get in this hole? I'll be like,
You don't have to take her to the hospital. You can just hold it closed for about 30 seconds. It'll get sticky enough and it'll just hold itself together.
And now look, we've been married over 5 years. It was a perfect match.
Look at Nick. Yeah, that's his wife, Nick.
You're a freaky fuck, man. You're a freaky fuck.
And that was only on day one. So imagine now, 5 years later.
I don't even want to know what you guys do.
Lee, what?
I used to watch the old podcasts of Nick and the squirter stories and all this. I'm like, these amateurs, what are they talking about? This is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
fucking.
Oh my God. I fucking forgot.
My man's cutting holes and fucking it.
The first, your first real like nickname before, like after Mutant was you came
Was
out
it-
with the Squirt King shirts.
No, it was the ass man first.
And then
Yeah.
Squirt King.
Yep.
I miss those.
Yep.
Wow.
missed that.
Yeah.
Everyone still wants me to bring the ass man shirt back.
I'm pretty
Speaking
sure.
of ass, man, I can tell you
I'm
the
pretty
fucking
sure
story.
you can't.
Because most a lot of girls don't like the anal sex, you know. They just keep saying they hate it, and you know they always say childbirth's the worst pain ever. I'm like bullshit because you have.
I think they
multiple
say
kids.
it. I think they say it publicly, but behind closed doors are like.
I know.
Yeah.
I had this. Like I said, I had that girlfriend one day where let's have anal sex. She goes, "Oh, I'm a bit full. I might not, you know, it might be messy." I'm like, I went to fucking what was it, Walgreens, whatever. Get those enemas. I said, here, use that, and we'll clean out. Then we'll do it. So she went in, did whatever, put the enema in there. And now, you know, when you're horny, you're ready to go. She's got to wait 30 minutes. 10 minutes goes by. I'm like, fuck, I'm ready to go now. She goes, I can't. You got to wait. I said, let's just get in the shower. Fuck it. So we get in the shower, and it's on.
I can't handle poopy.
Well, nor can I. But listen, I haven't got to the good bit.
Well,
I'm in there, right? And as I'm doing her in the shower, shit starts coming out. But you know, because you're in that sex mind where you're fucking. So as I'm fucking, more's coming out. It's like a pig in mud, put it that way. Shit's going everywhere. I'm fucking like this. And it's the greatest thing ever. I'm slamming. The second I come, I was like, what the fuck is this mess? Then it all hit me. The mess, the smell. Fucking.
oh, dude, I would have threw up. I would have threw up everywhere.
Oh,
I
that
would have
smell. That smell
thrown
had to be horrible.
up.
What else?
Every-
Before you come, it wasn't even like the smells there. Because you know when before you come, you love it, you just like dirty mind.
Yeah,
mind's
you're
just
into
fucking
it.
Yeah,
fucked
that's
up.
true. Why
Yeah,
is
but
that?
as soon as you come, then it's like reality hits. What
Is
the
that like
fuck
is that
Immediately,
like
too.
is that like the fight or flight shit? Like why does that happen? It's like you see red and it's like, oh hi, back to reality.
red? Oh, if they talk about red, I can tell you the tampon story. That was a funny one.
Well, tell me that after, out of all the accomplishments that you have,
Fuck.
because I no
That
so
wasn't an accomplishment.
Listen,
I guess honestly, you should write like a love novel because the fact that you and your
you
girlfriend
cut hole in bitches and fuck it. Like that's
and
an
get
accomplishment.
married and get married to him after that.
I consider that an accomplishment.
Yeah, that like that you should actually get like shirts made
That I'm
saying
still,
that like
that I'm still
You should
alive.
literally say get shirts that say I cut hole in bitches and fuck it.
no, just get a shirt that just says I cut bitches.
I cut bitches.
I cut bitches. It's the
I cut
most
And on the
bitches.
back, I cut bitches, and on the back, fuck the hole.
yeah, hashtag
How
fuck
about
the
I
hole.
just get an
Hashtag
eggplant,
fuck the
get an
hole.
eggplant, just get an eggplant and like a hole bleeding, and just leave it at that
Oh,
with a knife.
Mm. You're
intense.
just you the stories you have. So Nick, so Lee, he loves when I fucking blow his head up. He was my favorite. He was one of my favorite bodybuilders coming up. Him, Kevin Levrone were two of my favorites coming up, and I would read all of Lee's articles in MD, and the things he would say about
Sex stories.
about like pissing on chicks, like the shit that I would read in the fucking magazines back
my
then
man.
was
My man.
I was
insanity.
keeping it real.
And I was like, this guy. But so I remember reading and I remember going, this guy, as fucking crazy as this is, he's either just being fucking honest or he's just fucking lying to get attention. And then like
He's honest.
and then after watching him and like his videos and like seeing his sense of humor in like the battle for the Olympian, like, Lee, what do you do for arms? He's like, fucking train forearms. Like I fucking jerk off. That's what you do if you're a guy when you have fucking, if you want to get big forearms. He's like, I don't train forearms. It's like that kind of mindset. I was like, this guy just is real with who he is. And that's kind of like why I don't flirt with certain lines like Lee does. Meaning like I never get kicked out of an organization. But
goody two shoes you. Well, fucking would be do.
But-
Ass kisser.
but I do I do not like to bite my tongue, and I'm you probably more vocal than about 99% of the guys that compete. And that's just because that's just how I grew up. It's not, has nothing to do with, being tough or this. I promote people speaking up when there's a problem and not hiding behind closed doors. Like there was an issue at my gym with a kid behind the counter, and one of the members, and after I said, after the incident happened, I said, did you approach him and talk to him? He goes, no. And I go, why? He goes, I'm just going to let it go. And I go, why is that okay in your generation? I go, if somebody did you wrong, I go, you're just approaching big, hey man, like that's not okay. Like, please just don't let that happen again. Because like, if you're my friend, like that's something you don't do. Yeah. And I don't know why we are in this, like, and I know Lee can go down a rabbit hole, Nick, and we never really touch on this. And I guess maybe this is something outside of the ordinary that we talk about.
So let's talk about it.
Like the pussified generation and the downplay of masculinity in the world, if you think about it, is pretty crazy. It's pretty much out of every sector, gender, ethnicity, the male is the one that is literally frowned upon more than anything. Lee, you're in a very, very, and I was thinking about this today as I was driving home. You're very different in the way that, like, you bust my balls, right? About the eyeliner and the painting of the fingernails, because like I have very, like, not that I think like, oh, if you paint your fingernails, fuck you. It's just,
I even put a little bit of eyeliner on today just for you, just slightly there.
Well, just so you know, when you seeing that eyeliner made me a little tingly. So
I know you got a twitch down there. I know.
Yeah, I just had to shake it off a little bit. But when I made that comment when I was on Bro Chat about, like, I just don't like, it's just weird. It doesn't, just because somebody paints their fingernails doesn't mean I'm not friends with them. It's just, I'm allowed to be friends with somebody and think it's weird. I believe in God. I go to church. Somebody doesn't believe in God or they're atheist. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna be friends with them. I'm allowed to think something's weird. However, Lee, you're and Nick, if you watch Lee or know anything about Lee, like it's weird. He's on both sides. You're very, like, liberal on some things, Lee, and you're very fucking crazy conservative with others. So I'm always like, whenever there's something going on in the world, I always like to see what your opinion is, but I'm not going to speak about how you grew up with, with your father and this and that. Like, we can tell your story the way you want, but I know things about you. So your views on things, like, what do you think is the main problem with everything that goes on? Because you're in a very unique situation and you have a lot of different perspective based on how you grew up.
Well, for start, like I said, yeah, well, my father's gay. He's been with his partner now 41 years. My mother met him and thought she could change him by taking him to church. But, after a couple of years of marriage, didn't work out. So he's been with his partner, Greg, now probably over 40 years. I had a cousin that was a transsexual. So, I've come from understanding all walks of life. And, even like I said, having a cousin that's a transsexual, a father that's gay, I don't believe in trans going into female sports. And I get caught, oh, you're transphobic. I might disagree with something else. Oh, you're homophobic. I'm like, my father's gay. I love him. I get on great with him. My cousin never had a problem with him, her, and all the friends that would come up and visit my grandparents and stuff. So that's not it. What I hate now is just like this whole, every time a new TV show comes out now or a movie, I say to my wife, let's guess the gay couple in this, or the trans couple, because before you know it, there's a couple of men kissing. And I don't even want to see male or females kissing. Like, if there's an action movie, I don't want to see a fucking love scene and kissing. It's like, go into the bedroom, shut the door, we know you're fucking, that's it. But when it comes to kids programs now, where they're pushing it on kids, trans coming to read to kids in schools and all this sort of bullshit, I'm like, it's like you're trying to put, because I remember when I was young, my sister and I, because my father used to, with the Salvation Army, get all the donated clothes and have to put in this big room at the church. My sister and I would go in there and dress up. I'd dress up in old man's type suits, and then I'd dress up in dresses like her and stuff. Today, they'd be like, oh, look at Lee. He must be, crossing over. Quick, we better go see about getting the sex change. So it's just crazy, because kids just play. And if put that in shows, even if you put a gay couple in a show, a kid wouldn't understand it, because They just like, I remember when I was young, before I found out my father was gay, I was about 12. But up until then, I'd have mates that would come over from school, would have video night, watch videos, just sleep on the lounge room floor and stuff. So to me, when I saw my dad with this guy, I'm thinking, oh, that's just my dad's sleepover, mate. I never thought anything sexual, nothing like that. So to push this on kids where kids aren't even thinking that, it's like you're trying to put an adult's brain into a kid's body. The kid's not thinking. You know, normally when I spoke to a lot of his friends, they said maybe in their late teens is when they really started to know that they were more one way or the other type thing, not when they're fucking 4 or 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And today it's sad too, because like when my cousin transitioned and other like friends like that,
She transitioned, she from a woman to a man or a man to a woman?
Man to a woman. So it was like, before then they had to go to a doctor. You had to go see like a psychiatrist. Someone to talk to. Yeah,
Yep.
because like to do that, that's like a life altering experience. Like to go through all that, you've got to make sure it's what you want to do. So
Yep.
they'd make sure you go see doctors to make sure once this decision's made, there's no coming back from it. But now it's like you don't even have to go see a doctor, psychiatrist. You just say, I want to sex change. Okay, here's some hormones. Here's this. We'll cuddle off if you want. It's just.
How's this, Nick? I was on Instagram the other day and something popped up and I was like, what the fuck? And I thought this person was covered in tattoos. Like and they're not covered. I mean, like they were pretty much like, you know, when people get like inked all the way up, like they're completely black, but it looked like he was in like overseas and got blown up. Like he was missing his nose, missing his ears. He was missing fingers. And then I'm like, I'm trying to see like what the fuck this is about. Dude, there's people that actually do that to their, they get their nose and ears cut off. They act like aliens. This guy got his fingers amputated, his nose cut completely fucking off, his ears off and covered in tattoos. And like, they live like an alien life. I'm like, holy shit.
That's
Like,
weird.
I'm like, weird.
That's weird.
Like, you don't even want to know my thought because people, I would get.
Could you imagine cutting your nose off?
No,
Like,
despite your face.
like, how do you breathe?
Well, your nasal canal is on your skull, so like that, like the same way.
Yeah, but imagine me without a nose.
Nick, but it's
like
not.
Mr. Potato Head would have to.
Can you do it? It's fucking.
No, but why? I just
do it.
Like, and people justify that, and I don't understand. Like, why would you?
There's so many more like that. That's like an illness to do that. There's this woman. I should, if I can find the video. I was watching on the news station the other day. This woman, she identifies as being like disabled, like wheelchair and that. So she'll, when she goes out in public, she'll get a wheelchair, go around because she feels like she should be. No, but she's actually trying. She wants to be disabled, so she's trying everything she can to make herself disabled because she feels she should be a disabled person.
Oh, so she feels like she shouldn't use her legs, therefore she wants to be in a wheelchair.
Yeah, and she's trying to make herself disabled.
How do you make yourself disabled?
Oh.
Bro,
just do shit. Throw yourself downstairs.
I mean, I don't understand. Like, it's upsetting because.
Well, that's the thing. That everything's a mental illness, which, you know, even if you're obese now, that's a mental illness. No, you just fucking eat too much food. Yeah, there are some people with thyroid problems and genetic makeup where they do hold weight, but probably 80% it's just from lazy people. And now you look at Lizzo and all these people, fat acceptance, accept me because I'm fat. And now look at it the other day with that Kennedy running for the presidency because he had those pictures doing the push-up at Gold's Gym and that. And now the whole left-wing media is on about being in shape, training, looking after yourself is racist.
Racist.
Mm.
Where did I miss that?
I'll find the articles and send them to you. There's a couple of shows on Fox News about it that the Democrats are saying it's racist to be in shape and be all.
How is it racist?
Yeah, I got no idea. Because it's part of that side, I guess, the MAGA side, anything to do with MAGA and voting on the Republican side is racist. The word racism now gets thrown around so much in. Well,
they don't even use the terminology correctly. It's not even worth even fucking getting into because this world is so twisted and upside down. It's just it's upsetting at times, and there's so much more.
Just like I said, you can just say you don't agree with a man who's transitioned to a woman competing in women's sports when you had women all their life. Imagine being like say we were young girls and we wanted to go into bodybuilding or swimming, and from the age of 10, that's all you done is swum, sacrificed everything. You finally get to a level, you got world records, you got this and got that. There comes a guy in, all your records are now just been wiped off the board.
Fuck
and
that.
Now he's winning.
Fuck that.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. And then they're going into the change rooms. That Leah Thompson, the girl that Kylie, is it Riley Gaines?
Yeah,
Riley Gaines,
the ones that's fighting back. Yeah.
And when she went and spoke to him about it, saying, listen, we don't like him coming in there with his penis hanging out while we're all changing. They told her and the other girls they need to go see counseling to accept that. Yeah.
Nick,
they said she needs to go get counseling.
Nick, what was like when you were in high school? Because I'm Lee's older than me, I'm older than you. Like, what were things that were like was there? Because when I was in high school, there was maybe like 1 or 2 gay kids, and then like the big drug when I was coming up in high school was really like weed. Like I barely heard of ecstasy. Like I feel like what was your experience like on like coming through high school 10 years younger than me? Because my experience was very like everybody got along. Like obviously there was cliques. You know, people can say what they want. Racism. I really that didn't exist, at least where in my school. And if it did, I wasn't around it. I vaguely remember maybe 1 or 2 gay kids. And I remember like the big thing was like sneaking fucking cigarettes and weed. Like that was as far as like we pushed it on like a social norm level. Like how was it for you?
I mean, it wasn't much different. I mean, for me in high school, you know, I would say everyone got along. Everyone had their cliques. Gays was definitely more accepted. Like there was definitely more of that coming around when I grew up, you know. Weed was the general drug. You know, if you went out to an actual party, you know, there's be ecstasy sometimes, or Molly was the thing.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it was much different beside the fact that I would say, you know, I think gays were more accepted when I was in high school.
But they you find now, it's like you always like I think the media, they're the main ones that stir shit up where it comes to race and that.
Yes.
Because you really think about it. I lived in America 18 years, lived in Venice, where there's all walks of life. I had friends from all walks of life, every religion and every color you could think of. And I don't remember seeing any racism anywhere, really. It's like,
no.
I think 98% of Americans aren't racist. They just want to get on with their life, go to work, take care of their family.
I think 90% of people would just want everybody to get along and be happy, to be honest with you.
If someone came to you and they're Black, Hispanic, Asian, needed help, you'd help them. I don't see it as like, even when LeBron came out saying, oh, America's a racist, this and that, blah, blah. I thought, has LeBron ever just stopped once in the middle of center court and looked around at all those 1,000 people, white families and that, all wearing your shirt, your shoes, supporting you? A real racist wouldn't be wearing your fucking clothes and shit and coming to watch the game, which is pretty much 85% black people playing now, would they, you fucking idiots? When these stars get on the bandwagon too, I'm like, get over yourself. Yeah.
But you know what? You do get some of the good ones that stand up, man, and open their fucking mouth. You got guys like Rogan and guys like Sean Whalen, and you got guys like who else? I'm trying to think. I'm drawing blanks of guys that I follow, but David Goggins, like you got motherfuckers that stand up and say like that men need to be real men.
Because this whole systemic racism thing, I'm just like, really? In today's day and age, I'm like, we get it here a lot with Australians. Like we get like Indian people come in and different people, Asians come in, they study hard, they work well, they get these good paying jobs. Everyone's like, oh, look at these fucking foreigners coming into the country, taking our jobs. I see it in America. But what it is, it's like us Australians and Americans, we become so complacent with all this shit that we have. These people that come from these countries that have nothing come to a place like America and Australia, go, oh my God, look at what you can have if you fucking work hard and do this and do that. And they do it, whereas a lot of us people sit back wanting handouts and shit like that. So it's like, today I've always told people, whether you're gay, straight, black, white, Asian, if you're not where you want to be in life, it's because of you. Look in the fucking mirror. If you were black in America today, Asian, white, gay, whatever, nothing's stopping you from doing anything the other person can do. The only thing stopping you is you. So, it's just crazy when they always want to throw something out like, oh, this is the reason why. It's a prime example was I went to a restaurant once in Venice, and it's like, it's Saturday night, so I just wasn't thinking it's busy night. You got to make a phone booking. I walked in and said, I can just have a table for two. Oh, what's the reservation? I didn't make one. Oh, sorry, sir, we're booked. I said, that's fine. Because, on Main Street, Santa Monica, plenty of restaurants. Right behind me, black guy, as I turned to walk out, he said the same thing. Can I get a table? Oh, we're full, sir. We don't have any room. What? It's because I'm black, I can't eat here? I'm like,
oh, really?
Just like you just threw that out straight away. I'm thinking,
it's Lee, it's so hard because I can rabbit hole this and I'm really trying not to. So, it's something that just, with time, I hope just corrects itself back to kind of being a little more sane. And it's just for the sake of the kids. I love kids. I know how Nick has a soft spot for children. You do. I know how much you do for just in general.
I got a daughter. I got a daughter, 31. She's older than Nick. Nick, I could be your father.
And so, like, and I feel I'm asking Lee a lot of direct questions because I have so many questions for him, and I'm not trying to leave Nick out. So, Nick, if you have questions for Lee, cut me off at any time.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm just and Lee's a father, and it's something that me and you aren't, right? So I don't have experience in raising a kid in this kind of environment, but your daughter is older.
Hold on. I want to get off topic. This isn't getting off topic, but you both should go see The Sound of Freedom.
Yes, I want to see
really?
it. I actually met Jim.
I just saw it. Yeah, I just saw it was it last night? No, 2 nights ago. Me and Maria went. Yeah. That movie will fuck you up.
Really?
And it's all true. And then again, you look at that.
Up. And that movie. Which one's that about?
Child trafficking.
The kids, right?
Yeah. And that. It's all true story. And now, even with that, the liberal media is trying to say this is propaganda, QAnon, whatever it is. That. And this guy said this was made 5 years ago. Disney had the rights. Disney didn't want to release it. They sold it and got rid of it to someone else. So you got all these big people in Hollywood writing terrible reviews. The guy was he worked as the on the national security, whatever, for how many years, and then CIA gave up his badge to continue this work. So it's based on his life story. It's true. And
so is this like Epstein shit too, like all that stuff?
Island involved, and people sort of hinted it might be Epstein, but this is all true. They actually, I saw an interview just yesterday. They're working on a second one on another mission.
Is it sad? Is it sad?
I cried.
No, guy. Trafficking children, raping them's like a good fucking comedy.
No. I mean, like, I don't know how deep that fucking it gets.
No, it's very.
It goes like
there's things that I'm just like, I can't.
Lee, did you see it?
Not yet. No, I've just watched all the interviews that they've done because it's Jim, the main actor. I met him racing when I used to go to this race outside Vegas. I used to race with John Schneider in the General Lee, Bo Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Okay.
We used to race together, and he was a good friend of his, and he brought him out one time, and really nice guy. That's when too. It's funny because he went through all that hell when he played Passion of the Christ. Remember, everyone was up.
That was Mel. That was Mel Gibson's, right? That was Mel Gibson's. He was the producer of that or director.
Yeah, but Jim that played Jesus in that is the main actor in this, and it's just funny how Hollywood's shunning the whole thing. They want nothing to do with it because the stuff he's seen. That guy, what's his name? Tim Holland or Jim Holland? The main guy, he said the stuff he's seen, he has to I was watching an interview about him, how he has to turn off and do whatever because he's seen these videos of people being raped, child pornography, and America is the number one country.
Number one, bro. It said that child trafficking, I believe I'm right, is $150 billion company. Pretty much.
And they were saying too, because of that, like they were saying, it's bigger than drugs because, like they explained, you get drugs, you sell it once. They said a child, they can sell 10 or 12 times.
My buddy has a clothing company. I don't even know. My buddy Michael Shaw, he's a police officer. He owns a thing called it's the Apollon Project. So it's a nonprofit organization. So he has shirts that say on them KAP, and his shirts stand for kill all pedophiles.
They're minor attracted people. Now
you can't even. They're maps, right? That's what you have to say. You can't even call them.
Because pedophiles too. pedophile's too mean for him. I'm thinking, who the fuck come up with this to call them minor attracted people because calling them a pedophile is too mean? What about the kids they rape and everything else? And
I'm
hurt their
sorry,
life?
dude. If you put your hands
Oh,
on a
let's
kid,
feel-
that's
let's feel
I
sorry.
can't.
you don't
That's-
deserve to walk on the same earth as us.
Well, that's my
I'm sorry.
biggest weakness.
You just don't.
Well, that's probably my biggest weakness. Me being, molested
Yep.
as a child. Like that's I take that movie it's something I think everyone should see. Honestly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's just.
I'm glad it's beaten the big one. I think the second week it actually made more money than the first week I just read. So
it did.
yeah, and
Well,
it beat
because,
Indiana.
because they weren't allowed to promote it. No one knew about it
until recently it just came out. Like
it became word of mouth.
It was all the guys like Dana White, Joe Rogan, like you see the guys on Instagram, like the guys that are really fucking like hardcore conservative Republicans or just like they're whatever, they're really pushing this agenda to get it out there. And I think it's fucking great, man. Who like their kids, like that's just like
it was so sad, man.
You just don't do that.
How could you be a
kid?
That's what I said. I was saying, how could you be against a movie like that coming out? It's about child trafficking. It's some child, some are, even like I watched an interview where he said, some are even young adults into the teenage and that. But it's like, how could you be against a movie that's trying to stop that? But yet, some of these people in Hollywood and the media, oh no, this is garbage. I'm like, what the fuck?
Lee, it's sad. When I was at the airport in DC, and I was just like, moping and walking and going to the fucking thing. And I'm watching, and so many times I saw like a guy with a little girl, and I would just like lock on and just watch. And I'm like, is that like a grown man holding a kid? And I'm like, the fact that my fucking brain has to even go there in this fucking day and age is fucking. I hate that I even have to think like that.
Bro, there's I don't want to get the movie, but there's a scene in the movie where a guy just takes a kid and just goes on a plane ride, and like it's casual, and no one like suspected anything. Like it just shows how like they just can take a kid, just go about their business, and no one even like bats an eye.
And if that movie like brings to light and saves one fucking kid, even I don't care how much millions or billions of dollars it made or cost to make or whatever, if that movie fucking brings to light and saves one kid, that's a fucking win, man. Because that's just.
Did you ever see that other true story? Gerard Butler's in it, called Machine Gun Preacher.
Great movie.
No, I didn't.
That's based on a true story too, about a guy, and he was on the hit list of those the tribes over there, or the gun runners and stuff like that.
Okay,
it's a really good movie. And then I watched an interview with the actual guy that was about. Yeah, really good.
What you're a huge movie buff because you're always watching fucking.
That's the way you asked me. What do I do now? That's it. Watch.
That's your watching. You're
go back to the question. You originally asked me would I do anything different. No, because I won 5, 6 pro shows. I was in top 6 at Olympia 3 times, and for me back then, little guy, I didn't have a 212 or 202.
I was waiting for
I had to
the
go in the open
come
against the big guys, and I brought them giants down, guy. I stood there amongst them and toppled them over. So no, I wouldn't change it. Because to me, getting top 10 at the Olympia, being a shorter guy, I was happy. So whenever I got top 6, that was a win to me. And I get people today still, you're an angry old man, you never won the Olympia. I'm like, I knew I never would. It's like, I'm a realist too. I knew I'd never win the Olympia, but if I got top 5, top 6, top 10, because back then top 10 qualified you for next year. So I was happy with whatever I got.
So I got 2 questions. One, I want to know your favorite movie of all time, but number 2, and don't answer number 1 yet. I understand, and I want Nick's opinion on this too, because I don't think we've talked about it. I understand that when you're talking about the entire IFBB organization calling somebody Mr. Olympia and saying that there's one Mr. Olympia, the best bodybuilder in the world. I understand that. Okay.
No, that wasn't my words. Those ones, they're not my words. I just said get rid of the 212.
Hold on. But what I'm saying is, do you not also agree? Because I agree with that statement. I agree that there is only one best bodybuilder in the world. Correct. Now, however, genetically, there are limitations when you're shorter because you can only get so big. Now, and there's very few, can get past that genetic threshold. You were one of them. Derek's one of them. But on the latter of the two, guys like Derek or a Kamal or like the guys that moved up, maybe you wouldn't have even known who they were because they would have never got their feet wet in the 212 ring. So I understand what you're saying, but are you saying you actually don't think that class should exist at all? Like just get rid of
No,
it?
because I've always said, when you say there would be nowhere for them to go, Kamal, Derek, and all these guys love training. So I don't believe if there wasn't a 212 class, they would have stopped training. So they still would have progressed. And if they went into the open, they would have had to think, shit, to compete, I've got to get a bit bigger. So they still would have been there. Mm-hmm. To me, it's like, if you're not good enough to get into the open, stay fucking amateur. That's it.
So
Instagram, start a YouTube channel, make money that way, because the pros should be the best of the best. And sadly, now I see pro shows, I don't know their names. Look, they train hard, I'm sure, and go through hell to get ready for a show. But when you look at them standing back of the curtain, you're like, they look like bad amateurs, some of them. They shouldn't have their pro card. If you get second or third, you shouldn't get a fucking pro card.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that.
You're not going to win. There's just too many. And people are like, well, they're doing it for the money. I'm like, but if they stayed amateur, they can do like 5 or 6 different classes in that show and got to pay for every class. Yeah. So it's still money. But I think they're just giving them out too much. And to me, it was like, really, because I like classic because, classic's similar to what it was years ago. Classic. But then people started getting bigger. And back when I was competing, they said, if your stomach gets too big, we're going to mark you down. And some people they did, some they didn't. So people were like,
or you have guys like Nick that are fucking 5'7" and damn near 300 pounds and don't have a stomach. So that's also possible, right? We thought back when the mass monsters era was coming around that, like, in order to be a mass monster, you got to be 300 pounds with a stomach. Nick has progressively gotten a smaller stomach every fucking year, right? So
and they had a tiny waist, and even Ronnie in the beginning had a small waist.
Yeah.
And I remember Flex. I think he said the best he looked was when he was 218 when he won that Arnold Classic. But then he tried to play that size game with Ronnie and went up near 240. And that, like, he still looked great, round and beautiful shape, but he never had that real crisp, styrated look that he had when he was a lighter body weight. So I just think, it's just so many pro cards going out. I think it's just losing. Like when.
Well, Nick, the 212 class, the 212 class doesn't affect you, Nick. But when you look at it, I like what Lee says is right. I agree with Lee. But however, I also look at the latter side and I'm like, I still do see a need for it. I think the 212 class is necessary to have, and maybe not a 212, but maybe call it 210 or 220, or I don't think it should be 220, because I think if it's 220, now you're pushing the limits of the open. I don't think, because for me, one of the reasons, and I've said it, I didn't push my limits that much. Like, I didn't really push the food and I didn't push the drugs because I knew that I had a limit that I didn't want to go over. And maybe that's kind of better because it's healthier that I didn't have to do that. And I kind of stayed within.
Come on. We know some physique guys and other guys that are taking way more than the other.
100%. 100%.
I don't want to get that big. I don't want to do that to my body. It's like, fuck off. It's like these guys that say, I don't want to be a big freak like that. We're all males. If you're training arms and just say your arm, you measure it's 18 inches, what male's going to go, that's big enough. I don't want a 20-inch arm. I'm just going to stay at 18. Fuck off. It's like, you want to get as big and freaky
I
as
agree.
You can,
Nick, do you think that the class is either like needed or should be there, or do you say just everybody fucking go all in and just compete Royal Rumble everybody at once?
I mean, I agree with Lee that if you're not good enough for the open, but I also understand why they have the 212. And I also think it helps, people like you, like Sean, Derek at the time. Don't smile. You're little.
Like you,
it's okay.
The small guy.
I'm the big guy.
But
I think it gives you guys a platform to display yourselves, because honestly, if you guys were to go in the open, Sean did very, very well, but
I didn't do phenomenal, but I did 2 open Arnolds and did 5th and 6th, so I didn't get killed.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, then you're kind of
more.
No, well, hold on, because my argument, Nick and Lee, is also this though. You're right, but if I didn't have the pro wins and if I didn't have the Olympia appearances, which I probably wouldn't have had if I did just open shows, would you guys even know who I am? Would we even be on this podcast if it wasn't for the 212?
Probably because of your big ass mouth.
Yeah. And look at it this way. Look at it this way, guy. I've seen you on here. I've seen you on Fuad's podcast and shit. No one gives you credit for your pro wins anyway. So what's the point?
I get none. I get none. I get none. I think they were like cut in half. I think my 7 were a complete 3.5 according to Fuad, and they were like, you get half of that. No, I mean,
guy, let me ask you, if there was no 212, would you have continued to compete or no?
this sounds actually bad, and I hate answering this, but you want me to be honest, so I'm going to answer this. And I kind of did earlier. I'm going to get roasted.
I'm asking because you said
I know. I probably would have been a better bodybuilder, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I knew there was a limit where I was, and I limited myself. And I have said numerous times, I never pushed my food. I never fucking ate a lot. I hated pushing. Even when I pushed it a little bit, I didn't like it. So if I didn't have to, I didn't do it. I always said I really didn't push the drugs. I mean, I have a journal of every show I've ever done. It has the cycles in the back. I could show them to everybody. But
let me ask you.
So I think if I would have pushed my limits, I probably could have been better than I was. Yeah.
Not even drugs. If you just would have been consistent with food, you probably could have been better.
That alone.
Yeah. That is when I look back, when I was telling Lee earlier, Nick, maybe you have, I don't know if you look back and you're like, man, I wish I would have done that differently already, because you're so new and you've done so many great things.
I am so regimented. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I don't regret anything that I've done because I feel like it's made me as good as a competitor as I am.
Not a regret. I said that because I said that was a heavy word. Just like looking back, was there ever something you're like, like maybe I shouldn't have maybe went there, or maybe I shouldn't have, or maybe I shouldn't have done that business opportunity, or maybe I shouldn't have went with that coach, or maybe if I didn't do that show at that time, I would have been better for this, or like, is there just something that maybe not regret? You're just like, man, if I would have done that differently, maybe an outcome of something else would have been different.
No, I think where I'm at now is a very, very great spot.
And I think as long as you haven't murdered anyone or done anything bad, I think like, okay, there could be decisions you think if I had done this, it could have been better. But I find that by not making the right decision, you learn from that. So it makes you a better person, even though the decision's nothing,
Write this down.
Yeah. It's just
I heard this quote. Write this down. Because and I've said it before because it's such a good quote if you actually take it for the context.
Let's hear it.
Look at that big night with the wife tonight.
She'll bleed out with that bitch. She'll bleed out with that fucking samurai sword. Somebody I was listening to an interview, and I don't remember who it is. You guys could probably Google it, and it had to do about regrets. And somebody said, if you could go back with what you know now, would you change anything from back then? And the answer was so fucking good that I have actually stole it and I've used it because it makes the perfect sense. And he said, no, because if I would have corrected the mistakes I made back then, I just would have made different mistakes than I made.
I agree.
And I was like, that's fucking awesome.
I agree.
And it's when you say, Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm cutting him off this time, Nick.
Go ahead. I'm letting you. I waved the white flag now. I allow it. Go ahead.
As I said, when it comes to regret, I said I did have one. And like I said, it's more personal, but it was like when I was with Kathy LaFrancois, who used to compete, we were together 5 years. I met Adela Garcia. I thought the grass was greener on the other side. I cheated on Kathy, started seeing her. And that day I come home and told Kathy I was leaving to be with Adela. Just the hurt I saw in her and sit there because she thought everything was perfect, happily married. The way that sort of destroyed her and she sat there, that was like shit, making someone feel that bad. I sort of regretted that. And the other one was too, it was just like my grandparents who sort of raised me were there all the time and grandfather got me into it. When I was living in America, they used to always call me and they were bodybuilding mad. The whole family supported me. So all they want to talk about was bodybuilding. So I'm like, fuck, I don't want to talk about that. So I had a girlfriend here. Can you talk to my grandparents? Can you talk to them? And now that they've passed away, I'm like, fuck, I should have handed them.
Yeah. 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 I got a couple of those. I have a couple of my grandparents, and believe it or not, John and Sean are two people that text me that I never responded to. And then they passed away. So I
funny because
I
always
still have
tell
the text.
people,
I still have both text messages in my phone.
isn't it funny? Because I always tell people that I say, it doesn't take long. I said, every day, just do it, whether it be your friends, your family, just text them, hi, how you going? Thinking of you. Send a love heart emoji, because you and I, we all probably do it. We'll probably sit here for an hour or so online, sending messages,
Yeah,
abusing people we never fucking know.
I
And
know.
like, but yet for the people we care about and love, we just ignore them half the time. Like, I'll get back to them, because in your mind you think they're always going to be there. They're always
You know
going
what?
to be there.
I can say this, Lee,
I
and
do agree with that.
that this goes for you. This goes for Nick. The people that are in my circle, okay, are people that I talk to pretty fucking often. And
Mhm.
if and you've done it, Lee, Nick's done it. If there's something bad that has happened, or something's wrong, or somebody knows that I'm going through something, there's certain people that always, no matter what, will send a text or call.
Mm.
Lee, you're one of them. Nick's one of them. Flex is one of them. Jose's one of them. Like, I can go, the list goes on for me. My buddy Bobby, like that. My buddies back home, like that here where I live. There are people that like are my go-to no matter what. And then there's people that I consider friends, but like they don't know the intricate details of like who I am as a person. So for me, it's a little different. And I'm trying to put it like, I don't want to offend anybody. Like, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Or not really?
I do.
I'm trying to put it into better terminology. But go ahead, Lee. Sorry, I cut you off anyway.
But I'm just saying that it's like, because there's some days, because I love the haters, and when the haters are online, oh yeah, fuck you and this and that. Then I'm like, I don't. Somebody say, oh Lee, you suck, face tattoo, blah, same stuff, midget. Well, I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
And then I just go and I look at their profile. I come back. I write something nice. Look, I know you're angry. I understand. I said, but you're a strong person. I said, for you to still be around looking like that, I would have off myself years ago. So I got to give you credit for being so strong and still being here. Like beautiful messages like that, or go for a drive in the car, but don't leave the garage type of thing. Really heartwarming messages. I
Just to
like
let
to
them
send
know.
them. Yeah.
Just to let
But
them
it's
know.
like, and I'll do that for fun for like half an hour sometimes while I'm doing cardio.
And then they actually think you're actually pissed off.
Yeah.
Then people actually get mad and think you're actually fucking angry.
Well, nothing, like I said, nothing really gets me mad, because I've been through those stages where, I used to get abuse. Oh, your mother this, your mother that, your daughter this. So like, I've heard it all. I just water off a duck's back to me. Nothing upsets me and whatever. So they think they're getting to me. I'm like, please, I said, I'm just doing this for fun. But then I said, I'll get a message from my mum. I'll be like, I'll get to that later. But it's like, these people I don't know, I'm arguing with, texting back and forth. But my mum doesn't care. Oh, she can wait. It's like, that's why I tell people, never wait. Send a message and just say thinking of them, say love them, just anything. It doesn't have to be a huge message.
It's the way we prioritize our life now. And it's the way we just fucking go through life thinking that the end is never near. And that's the problem.
Especially with things like my mum and that, because, I said when my mum and I competed together, we were the first mother and son to win a couples together in the world and stuff like that. But even then, I was 17. I just won the Mr. Australia at 17, and she was doing her first show. Lee's giving his mum drugs. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, it's sort of stupid. And the thing is, too, people go, Lee, when did you start? It's like, look, I started winning contests at 13. At 19, I'd already won the Australia 3 times, said I was going to get a pro card. So I knew I was coming to America to do the Niagara Falls amateur. Got the pro card, but just before I left, I started Deca. And I tell people there's that picture of me standing there, like with the trees in the background. That's me at 19, natural. You look at me identity when I'm 19, I've put 20 pounds of muscle on. You can see when I went on the gear. So it's like
the gear. Nick,
the gear.
Did you remember Lee Priest? Was he like, I know Jay was more like your time, but was Lee Priest like one of the guys? Because you were shorter. I'm a little shorter than you, but you're not like a 6-foot guy.
Yeah, Nick, just remember who Jay said the freakiest guy he ever seen was.
I know. I seen it. I know.
So I'm saying, was Lee somebody that like was in your target zone? Like it would come up like somebody.
I was always impressed with his physique because even when I was younger, I was told I had, big arms for my
Yep.
age. And Lee was, known as the guy with the big arms. So I watched a lot of his videos, and I actually did one of his arm workouts one time that I seen on YouTube, and I tried to imitate it.
And they said,
Um,
fuck you, that shit kid.
Lee, I
doesn't know
still
what
have the
he's talking
cover
about."
of I still have the cover. Nick, do you remember the cover of Lee where he's standing there and he's flexing like this with the dumbbell, and it's got just like Superman tattoo,
yeah,
and his
yeah,
arm looks fucking yoked. I have the
yeah.
down. Lee, I have so much stuff of you, which is kind of
Here you go,
weird.
here you go. I'm going to be like everyone else. This is low carb day. I haven't really eaten it all, but here we go. 51 now.
No, but it was a hammer curl. It was a hammer curl.
I remember
Coming
that.
That's very impressive. But I want to see. I
big.
want to see the fucking reiterated version of the cover.
Oh, well, how was I standing like this? That would have been like this.
Yes. Look at that's fucking. That's
He
ridiculous.
still got it.
It's crazy. Look at that thing.
Oh,
I'll take those.
Masters
I'll trade
Olympia.
you.
Yeah, I'm coming back, Masters Olympia.
I'll trade you. So, well, I was gonna talk about Justin.
No,
Nick.
I don't want you to trade me. It's like, fuck, it'll be like I'm 12 years old again with your arms.
I got little arms, bro. So, Lee, our buddy Justin competes
Yes.
this weekend. He's doing his
Look
first
at
his
that.
pro debut. I don't know if you follow Justin, but he's one of my favorite
Yes, I
guys.
do.
What
I do.
it looks like the show, Nick, is what him blessing. Who else is doing it?
Stanimo jumped in. John
Okay.
De La Rosa jumped in.
Oh, he did.
Eric Ramirez.
Is it where would the list be? Would it be
Bodybuilder Without Borders?
body? Okay, let's check that.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
I haven't seen, I've seen some of the others from previous shows, but looking at the pictures Justin's been putting up, if he goes into that dry like he's looking now, and I think he has, like, Blessing's big, but I think Justin's more complete overall.
Yeah.
If you're looking at overall shape and that, and the density he's got there in his back and stuff like that under the lights. If he's, I remember, was he on your show where he said he's around 230 when you had Chris on or something?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm thinking I like that show too because Chris said I got to go now, kids, and that. An hour later, Chris is still on. Guys keeping him talking. I'm going now.
I can keep Chris going at all.
Yeah. So the thing is, too, that's one good thing. Being a little bit shorter, if you come in conditioned, that's why I tell people on stage it's such an illusion. If you come in ripped on stage and whatever, like when I won to San Francisco, Cormier was 260. People are like, Lee, what did you weigh? I said, what do you think I weighed? They're like 235. I'm like, I weighed 190. I weighed 199 pounds. And when I was backstage,
That's
I said
crazy.
to Chris, what did you weigh? He's like 260. I went, oh no, you got beat by a guy 199 pounds. He's like, fuck you, Bruce.
Hey, it's all a fucking illusion. So this is
That's what I tell people. That's what I tell them.
this. So this is the list, and you're adding John De La Rosa to it, and who?
And Stanimo.
So me and John De La Rosa go back very, very, very long. One of a guy that I came up with, amazing bodybuilder, amazing family, amazing man. So for me, I think show is going to come down to, I'm going to go with, this is going to come down to Justin and John.
You think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Justin, John, and we're going to see, I think you're going to see Justin, John, and then either Blessing, then Stan, or Stan.
It's the only John, though, from what I can recall. Like, I remember seeing him in some shows. Sometimes he can be like fantastic, or then sometimes he's that little bit off, and it's just.
Why? What? Where?
He's off. One, definitely, yeah.
Who are you looking at, Nick? What do you think with this list plus the ones you added? Stan, John, and.
I don't know how John's gonna look. Honestly, he's been out of the game for a while.
Yeah, question mark, of course.
And stuff. So based on what I have, seen this year, I could actually see Stan taking second.
Okay.
Based off how he looked at Orlando and even improved for Vancouver. He lost to Hassan, but Hassan's, like 40 pounds bigger than him. But Stan's not small, but he's also crazy peeled. So if he comes in Chicago, whether it's the same or a little bit better, I could see him in second.
This
And
lineup,
Blessing's one of those too. If he misses it too, like there were
But-
some people in the day where, like, if Flex would, if he was a little off, Flex could still win a show being
Yeah.
a little off. Whereas some people being a little off, they
Not
look
me.
a lot off.
so
He just looks shit 24/7, guys.
The only
Yeah.
thing with Blessing, you know, and I got a lot of shit for this, you know, is Blessing's. I did. It was Blessing's legs.
yeah,
Blessing from the top is nuts.
crazy.
He looks great.
Crazy.
Small taper, great upper body, crazy
big back.
But when he shows us, it's not like his legs are, you know, a little different from his upper body. Like, it's a
Yeah.
big fucking difference.
Yeah,
And if he can't improve those,
it's gonna hurt him.
he's not going to
Mhm.
beat people that are just have bigger, better legs.
Yeah, and you know he's not like a seasoned pro. He hasn't been competing for years as a pro. So even with his legs that aren't necessarily the biggest, he has time to bring his legs up. So like it's not like, oh, Blessing's legs are not great now. Like he still has time to make them very, very good. So it's not like a knock on Blessing. But right now, you know, people are allowed to have good body parts and bad body parts. And people also have to understand that that's not a knock on their physique. That's just people giving an honest outlook of their physique and taking their personality and the heart out of it and just going based off of what we look at. So, well, you know, we all, and
And they also have to understand too is when we're saying his legs aren't that good. Like it's like when people say that
he's still a
Brandon Curry.
fucking pro. He's still got
Oh, yeah,
pro caliber
like
open
Brandon
legs.
Curry, they say Brandon Curry's got shit legs. I'm like, they're not shit. It's just that maybe his upper body looks a bit better.
Yes.
But his legs are still fantastic. You can't say, oh, they're
Well,
shit legs. Like
Nick got destroyed by saying, "Oh, Samson doesn't have like Samson's back double bicep. That he doesn't have shit." And I'm like, I know what he meant. Like that's just Nick saying like from the like his back lat spread's crazy. His back double bicep isn't as good as his back lat spread, and that's one of
the
his worst
Jersey
shots. And it's like people are like, "Oh, he said he's so disrespectful." I'm like, you fucking.
But isn't it funny though? Nick
Right.
says it. He's in the game. Nick's in the game. He's doing it. He competes with him. We know what he means. But yet these people that are going after Nick, they probably have their opinion on people and say the same shit, if not worse. So it's like, I never understood when even the athlete themselves get upset. I'm like, you're a grown fucking man with muscles. Stop being a fucking pussy. Suck it up.
That was the point I was getting at. Like my whole career, I got my fucking asshole chewed out majority of the time.
He's he's square.
I'm a fridge, wide waist, never turn pro, won't do that. I never gave a fuck.
You say one person doesn't have a good back double bicep, and everybody's
I'd always write back to these people because they'd be like, Lee, you suck. You're short midget. You got a shit chest. You got a shit back and all this. I said, but isn't it funny? You know who I am. I won 6 pro shows and stuff. I said, so just imagine that. As shitty as I am, I've done that. What the fuck have you done? So that shows how bad you are.
Lee, what was the best piece of advice you've gotten in bodybuilding or life that somebody gave you along the route? Because you've been to a lot. I mean, you were recently at somebody's. Hold on, you were at some, and this is crazy because when I say people don't maybe know things you've done a lot of wild things. You went, and I do not think wholeheartedly I would be able to do this. Nick, he went to I don't even know what to call it. It was somebody was passing away and they weren't dead yet, and they were having a goodbye party because they had, right? Your friend was passing away. You have cancer.
Yeah.
And he had like explain like
yeah.
So
it's only what they have, you know, when someone passes away, you go have a wake after it, where you go to a place and eat and drink and just. He went to the local bowling club because he figured, why have it when I'm dead? I might as well have it while I'm alive so I can see you all. I said, that's great. I said, and people you don't like, you can tell them, fuck off, cunt, I hated you and I hated you. You could just tell people to go fuck themselves because what are you going to do? I'm going to be dead soon.
Did how was that an experience? Was that an experience?
It was, because it's weird, because even though you're there for that, because he's still there, it's not like you're really saying goodbye because it's like he's still there. But at least
is he still around?
Yeah, but he's a lot worse now. They're getting a lot worse. Probably see him once a week. He doesn't get out much now because in the lungs and that. And it's just like I said, it's crazy because my stepfather now, he's in hospital again today doing more MRIs and that. Like 3 weeks ago, he had a pain in his back. He's 75, looks 60, always trained in that. My mum's been married to him now for 30 years, had this bad back pain because he squats heavy and stuff and still does deadlifts. So my mum thought it was this, so she's massaging his back, getting worse, goes to the hospital, does a chest x-ray. Oh, we see a dark shadow near your lungs. Next day, they send him for the CT scan and MRI. Then gets that phone call, need to see you first thing in the morning. So he had cancer of the spine, lungs, and liver. So he just had an operation last week to try and get rid of some of the tumor, but they
This
can't
is
get
your
it all
mother's
off.
your mother's husband.
Yeah, now, yeah, my stepdad, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like they tried to get rid of most of the tumor, but they still can't. So he's in pain now still. And I think had more scans yesterday still because they're going to start like the radiation and chemotherapy because he had a big melanoma cut off his head up here. So, that was
Wow.
like a year ago and they've been testing it. No, the cancer hasn't come back. It's good, but it's spread and went down to his spine and lungs and liver. So I think my mum's going to get him palliative care just for pain management and stuff like that. But I don't think the outcome is going to be great when you get the trifecta like that from melanomas.
No, Nick, does any disease or cancer like that really run in your family? Like my grandfather had lung cancer, and my dad had skin cancer on his nose, but other than that, it was never really anything major cancer bouts or anything like that.
My dad, on my dad's side, his father and his brother died of cancer.
What kind?
I forget the name. It's like you just melt away pretty much. I forget the name of it.
It's a lot of them.
Like he lost weight very, 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 very,
Not
very
the
fast.
Hodgkin's
disease. Yeah.
It might have been. But on my mom's side, I would say Alzheimer's.
Really?
Yeah. Well, her dad died last year or 2 years now of it, and now my grandmother has it.
My mom's mother died of Alzheimer's, which makes me nervous because I played football for 15 years and like people bust my balls about like not having a good memory. My memory's not good. Is not good. It's not. My memory. I got knocked around every fucking play for 15 years. My head is not like people like joke about it, and I'm like, yeah, it's funny. I've actually been tested because they can test you for like inflammation markers for CTE because the only way to check.
Do you have
CTE,
any?
Yeah, I had some that were raised for sure.
Really?
Yeah, my memory's not that great.
Send him a text and he writes back, "Who's this?" He's fucked.
Hey guy, huh? Lee, what? I'm so thirsty, and I'm out of fluid, so I'm chewing my ice. We're gonna answer a couple. We're gonna answer a couple of questions, but what is a major fear? Like, what is something that in your life that is like you're like on your major list? Not like I'm afraid to die. Everybody's afraid to die.
I don't really like heights, but I've done things up high. I've flown that jet plane when the guy took it up. He goes, "Here, you can fly it now." I've got a video of me flying a Russian jet plane.
Yeah, that wasn't long ago.
No, like a couple of years. And then I went up in a hot air balloon for my birthday the other day. I'm thinking, oh fuck. And whenever I go to do something, I go on YouTube and I watch all these hot air balloons fucking crashing, people falling out to their death. I'm like, this is going to be fun. So I go up in the hot air balloon. I'm like, it's actually peaceful and nice. So I don't really have a fear. It'd be more, I don't know. I think the fear would be things happening to either family members or other people. Like you said, they're not really a fear, but just sudden things happening. But I always found whether it came to heights or anything, the old saying, the only thing to fear is fear itself, is because I find when we fear something, we fucking build up in our head to be so fucking. And then if you ever, something you're scared of, when you finally do it, you're like, fuck, that was great. Let's do it again. Because in your mind, you create this big fucking thing of how bad it's going to be. But then.
Well, we know Nick has to be afraid of heights because he's fucking 300 pounds. There's no way you're not afraid of heights.
I'm deathly afraid of heights.
So I was joking. So you're 100% don't like heights.
I fucking hate heights.
So like heights is, so if you're at a mall, you won't go to the ledge and like hang out and like lean over it?
That's fun. I just can't fly. Like anything I'm good.
What happens if you like what about if you had to like hunt in a tree stand, like sit in a tree and like climb up?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm if it's okay, moderate height.
So you don't like bungee jumping, skydiving, fucking airplanes, hot air balloons.
Fuck off.
No, nothing.
Hey, I know where we're taking Nick when I come over, hot air balloon rides.
So Lee, there are, I think you've seen, right? I posted on my story. There's people in hot air balloons all the time.
Yeah.
There's a hot air balloon place by my house that the fucking people are always, you'll hear like outside. I'll be outside doing yard work, and all of a sudden you'll hear.
Oh yeah.
The fucking,
shooting the flame.
Yep, shooting the flame into the fucking balloon.
Yeah.
Nick, you want to ask away?
Yeah, let me see if
On some of yours. We posted some Q&As, Lee, so we're gonna get some questions for you.
Yeah.
Or for us. I'll check mine too. Here we go. I got a bunch. First one, ask Lee why 212 shouldn't be a thing.
Somebody asked, is Lee able to compete again on the IFBB stage masters, or is he still banned?
I'm not banned anymore because I was banned when Wayne run it, and now they're split. They got these two organizations. So when Bob says Lee's not banned anymore, it's true. I'm not banned with the new organization. And I've seen Jim. The thing is, too, I've never had a problem with Jim, anyone. I just had a problem with the organization. And even when I think 2002, when I won that San Francisco show, I always get there early. I got to the meeting early, and Wayne D'Amelia's yelling at me because an article come out in MD at the time where I'm talking about the politics in the sport. And he was going off. So I won the show. And as I was backstage, he's like, are you happy you won? I said, well, I'm surprised. The big argument we had, I didn't think I was going to place. And he's like, well, that's okay, Lee. He goes, I like you because you'll speak your mind. And you ask in the article, why do I do what I do? He goes, because you might not do it. You might write an article like this. But he goes, I know the other 99 guys would do what I say. He goes, if I suspend you, that puts the fear in them. So at least he was honest about it. So I had to give him credit for that.
That's
I remember
crazy.
one time at the Arnold Classic, another article come out, and the woman, I wish I could find the article. I think you can go online maybe. Arnold, the Columbus Dispatch had an article on that had me doing a double bicep shot. Lee Priest pulls out of the Arnold because the day before she was at watching the earlier judging behind the judges table, and they had some article, and the judges were like, we'll get Lee tomorrow, don't you worry. And so she just came and found me at the Twin Lab booth and said, what's this about? I heard the judges were talking about getting you tomorrow. I'm like, really? I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm not going to compete. So come Saturday, I'm at the expo. I thought, I'm not going to compete if they're going to screw me. So this guy comes back. Wayne needs you backstage now. I said, tell Wayne I'm not coming. I've been told I'm going to get screwed, blah, blah, blah. He disappears, comes back. Wayne said, if you don't get there, you'll be suspended and fined. So I contacted the lady from the dispatch because she left me a card because she took the photo on that for the article. And I called her up and said, now, are you sure that's what you heard? She goes, Lee, I swear. I said, would you give an affidavit that is what you heard the judges saying? She's like, yes, I will. So the guy comes back, Wayne, you got to get there. I said, listen, you tell Wayne I'm not fucking coming, and this woman's going to give a sworn affidavit about what she heard the judges saying about me. So he disappears, come back and said, okay, Wayne said, don't worry about it then. You don't have to.
Oh my. Oh, so they knew you weren't going to win.
Well, I didn't compete anyway, so
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Once he knew that I had a woman, because he wanted to suspend me for not competing. I said, well, I'm not going to compete if I get screwed. And she was going to give a sworn affidavit. She heard the judges saying they were going to screw me. So he's like, okay, then tell me he doesn't have to come.
Wow.
I don't blame you.
Lee, what was your favorite personal look and what year was it?
Oh, I don't know. People say 97 Olympia. Some even say the 2013.
No.
When I won
you pick what you like.
But that's the thing, I can't, because if you're a true bodybuilder, I don't think I've ever been happy with any look. You always think maybe I could have been a little bit better here, a little bit better there. But I think 2009 at Champions, when I weighed 218, everybody thought I was going to win it. Jay won it. And the crowd was fucking booing. Half of them left the auditorium.
What show?
Everyone. Night of Champions 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I don't think I have a great look, because I never, like I said, I hated competing.
Lee, you looked incredible. Stop. I don't want to fucking listen to you say you don't look good. I remember you walking on stage, my jaw would hit the fucking ground. So I don't want to listen to that nonsense.
Yeah, but if you're judging yourself, you're never happy with how you look. That's what inspires you to train harder.
Yeah, but when you have other pros telling you you're a fucking freak show, you got to take at least some of that into consideration and understand that they know what they're talking about.
Because, well, to me, like, I never won a big show, but hearing Jay say that I was the freakiest you ever seen, hearing Ronnie
he said that to me behind closed doors.
Yeah. And then like in that interview where Ronnie says the worst thing that happened to him is like, was it being beat by Jay? He's like, no, being beat by Lee Priest 5 times or whatever. But then even Dave did an interview of Ed Connors once, and he said to Ed Connors, out of all the people you've seen come in the golds, who was the freakiest? And he's like, Lee
Lee
Priest. So
Priest.
hearing that to me is better than winning any show or stuff like that. So
This is a good one because it involves all three of us. What does Lee think of Nick and you, Guy, of your new training style?
is that the new style you're talking about?
It's not really. It's so Nick's probably better off at explaining it since he was the one that kind of talked me into it. So I'll let Nick kind of explain it and then I'll add my 2 cents.
Okay, so it's virtually like a push-pull legs, you could say, to a degree. And basically what it is it's a type of training that's kind of like reps in reserve. It's an app, and it tells you like the first week, you might do like 3 or 2 reps in reserve, and then the next week it'll add a set, maybe go to like 1 rep in reserve, and it increases the sets, and not so much sets all the time, but it might make you do like an extra rep or something of some sort. And it'll, by the 4th or 5th week is like the week where you kind of just fuck shit up, go all out, whatever you need to do. And then the following week, it kind of, brings you down to like a deload week, let your body reset, all that, take an extra day or 2 off. And then you kind of go right back into it and keep repeating. And the purpose of it is it's so you don't train to complete failure. It's just more stimulus on the muscle without going to failure. It's very slow, very controlled, full range of motion, pausing in the hole, exploding up, things like that.
So, and Lee, so for me, I don't, obviously I watch you train. For me, I enjoy going to the gym. So I have that switch, right? When I want to fucking train, and people are like, why don't you just train lighter? I just can't grab 20s and it's not my thing. So this app for me,
safer.
And it's safer for me at my age, especially with having injuries, but it sets like almost like expectations that I should do based on the numbers that I provided for the first week. So like today was my first leg day where this thing like threw numbers at me. And now, I mean, the time under tension is probably, I would say 4 to 5 second negatives eccentric. And then the concentric, you explode through. It's been some of the hardest training I've ever done. And for me, I absolutely fell in love with it. This week was the first week it started automatically giving me my numbers. And I think it's fucking awesome because it's new. It gives me goals that I have to chase and it saves my joints. So I think it's great, but I don't know if that's something like, did you ever follow training methods? Because you being someone that didn't follow a coach and like a specific coaching style, I highly doubt you followed like a training method. You probably just did this similar 4 sets like me, pyramided up and weight to failure, everything. That's what I did.
I mean, like I normally did 5 sets on each exercise. Like for arms, I always did 20 sets, buys and tries, never any less than 20 for each of them. But to me, it's like I've tried everything. I've done supersets, giant sets, just normal. Because when people say, what's the best style of training? I'm like, there is none. Training's training. It's like you can go, I was never doing 1 rep maxes. The least I ever did was 6 reps. But, when it comes to anything, now I don't go super heavy on leg press. The heaviest I might go would be 10 plates a side. But generally I stay around 7 plates and do what you said. I just keep the constant tension on it, really squeeze them. Like when you're standing on stage, flexing your legs. That's how I am once I get near the top. I tense them and come down. But then I might do stuff like I'll come down, halfway up, down, then all the way up. That's 1 rep.
So 1.5.
Yeah. And then I'll bring it down halfway, then just hold it there for as long as I can until your legs start shaking and stuff like that. So I've done all types of things. That's why I never say one's
but
better
you're
than the other.
passionate. Like you're even at this age, like you're like Nick's a 28-year-old. I call him a kid, but like he loves the bodybuilding lifestyle, like loves the training, loves the competing. Me and you are on the outskirts. And like, Jay always talks about how passionate he is about he just loves to work out. Like he just needs that. Like, I don't think people realize how passionate you are about just going to like your days. You do how in an average day, and I'm not talking about like strolls like that you have like set. How much actual regimented cardio do you do a day? Plus you're working out. Because I don't think people realize how much of your day you actually give to fitness just in overall minus anything that has to do with food.
I probably, like I said, I'll train in the morning, probably an hour and a half, and do an hour of cardio, and then afternoon I might train something smaller and do another 45 minutes cardio. That's in the gym, but then I'll walk the dogs and do other stuff. So
Interesting.
you do like 3 hours of cardio a day.
generally, sometimes two minimum. That's just because I eat so much shit food. I got to do something. People like, why don't you stop eating shit food? I'm like, fuck off. It tastes
Nick,
good.
Nick,
I'll fucking walk to McDonald's and walk.
That's
home.
his mentality. His fucking mentality is literally, I'll eat whatever the fuck I want as long as I'm doing more cardio. I'm okay. And he looks like that.
It's paying off. It's paying off.
Like when I get ready for contest, the lowest I went on carbs was 250 grams, 300, and I do 2 to 3 hours of cardio a day. People are like, why you do so much cardio? I said, because I don't want to wake up hungry and go to bed fucking hungry. I'll just eat more food and burn it off doing cardio.
Here, Lee, this is for you. Have you ever tore a pec? If so, how was the recovery process? Tore my pec 5 weeks out from my show. Nick, you haven't torn shit.
Knock on wood. I have my hamstring.
But wasn't that like.
But still fucking tear, man.
No.
I got 2 holes in my legs, motherfucker.
The fucking guy, it's major. You get a tear, and it's just like this, Nick. He gets a little fucking bruise, and look, I got a fucking tumor happening. Fucking hell, it's like Jesus.
You son of a bitch! You know that's not true, Lee. You fucking know more than anybody. That's not true.
You never exaggerate an injury, would you?
but Lee, but you recently tore your pec.
Yeah, I tore it like where the shoulder tie, and he does walking both dogs. Yeah, see that? Walking the dogs, because both dogs combined is 230 pounds. They both went like that, and that quick snap, I went, oh fuck. Oh. And I tore this tendon off. I tore this tendon off the shoulder. I was picking up a big wide screen.
You're missing that
the
whole
tendon that holds the bicep up. That long headed bicep. I was picking the TV up and it kept sliding, so I turned my hands that way and pulled it. As soon as I pulled it.
So did you get it fixed?
Yeah, and then my neck from a car accident. I've never once, touch wood though, never got injured in the gym ever. Never training. It was always shit outside the gym.
But your neck one did your career in.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's like, if that didn't happen, I probably would do the Masters Olympia, because my last show was the Universe in 13 that I won, and I was getting ready for the Worlds in 15 when the accident happened. So that's the only shitty thing. It's like, when you retire like you did, you get to leave on your own terms and say, this is it. Have a car accident, go, fucking that's it. It's like, sort of shitty.
Yeah. Well, Nick, you're going to be able, you've already set yourself up to be one of the greatest bodybuilders in the world for, in the history books. So you'll definitely be able to have your day when you're done, and they'll definitely fucking give you a send off. And, I'm not that important, but I was,
Nick will have Sandow trophies. We didn't.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I'll be there. I'll be there to hold the Sandow trophies. that'll be my job. I'll be there to fucking. I'll be there to keep away your screaming fans, Nick.
I'm glad you're thinking positive. With your Alzheimer's coming on, you even know who the fuck he is in a couple of years' time. So. My shoulders will be so bad, and I'll be too old. I won't remember shit. Nick's gonna have to come into the room and go, "Hi, guy, it's me, Nick." Huh? Nick, and I won a Sandow.
Nick, this is
it's the Mr. Olympia.
Lee, this one's for Nick, because this is going to be good, because this is directed towards him because of his age group. For people our age, Nick,
like your age or my age?
Your age, because it says Nick. Should people stop ego lifting? Lots of TikTok kids are promoting it to grow.
I think there should be no ego lifting. I don't ever want to say
okay, hold on. When he says ego lifting
weight, you shouldn't do.
Oh, okay. But what people are promoting it to grow? Is that like a true thing? Like I don't
know. Well, I don't want to say that on purpose, but you'll see a bunch of TikTokers and them loony loons like lifting shit that they just probably shouldn't be fucking doing, and they're swinging it. Wow, all this crazy. It's just not, in my mind, beneficial for a starter to do. I don't want to say I ever ego lift, because even though back in, I don't want to say back in the day, a few years ago, yeah, right. A few years ago,
back in the day is not back in the day.
Yeah, it's like a couple of years ago. But I used to
back in Guy's day, Moses come down off the mountain with 2 tablets.
But I used to lift heavy fucking weight, but I controlled the shit out of it.
Yeah.
You don't really see people doing that, you know? And even now, you know, with the videos that I've been posting on, you know, my Instagram about, you know, controlling the fucking weight. I mean, not that I haven't been doing it, but now that I'm like really paying more attention to it, it's destroying me in a good way though.
Yeah.
Muscles are sore. I wake up with the muscles sore, no tendon pain, no joint pain. And I believe that's the way to fucking grow. You're going to get strong. I get strong fast. So let's say, for example, last week, I did the 130 dumbbell press incline for, I think it was 8 or 9 reps.
Did 150s this week.
Yeah, this week I did the 150s for 8 or 9 reps.
I watch.
You know what I mean? So it's, but the tempo and how I did it looked no different than when I did the 130s. So
it's good. Good to see you train like that, because I've seen so many young kids who do go crazy in ego lifting. You're thinking it's just dangerous. Like all my training videos, I use good form. I got up to 200-pound dumbbells and use good form, but I'd stick around the 140s because it's like Nick's saying. You see so many guys now going too heavy. They're using every other muscle to move the weight. And it's like I've told people, if you can get that mind-muscle connection and focus, you could grab a 30-pound dumbbell, but if you do it correctly, squeeze it and that, you can make 30 pounds feel like 60 pounds. And it's like your muscle doesn't have eyes. Your muscle can't see the weight you're lifting. It's only going by the constant tension and what you're doing. So I've seen people do that before, where a perfect example was at Gold's Gym. They had an Icarian and a flex leg press down near the mirrors. The flex leg press, you could put 15 plates aside on it, plates on top.
Look good.
Yeah. The Icarian, you put 7 plates each side and you're fucking struggling to push it. No one wanted to do that leg press. They wanted to use the flex where they could put all the plates on. People were like, Lee, why don't you use that one? I said, because I've got to unload the cunt. I'm just going to stick the machine where I put 6 or 7 plates
That's
on.
like that one Arsenal chest press, that like older chest press, Nick, that older Arsenal one, that flat press that you could put like 80 fucking plates.
I would literally load the fucker.
You could put so many plates on it. It's insane. The thing just moved. It was crazy.
But like Lee, like I don't want to unload the shit now. You know, like fuck.
But Nick and
Lee, if you're doing that type of training that Nick's doing now, and he's feeling it, it's like now. Like I used to squat 7 plates and go balls to the wall, but now even doing these days where I do the 7-plate leg press, but really squeeze it. I might do walking lunges up and down the room, like doing 3 on each leg as I change. And it's like Nick was saying, the next day, I could swear I just squatted 1,000 pounds. My legs are just as sore, if not sore, because I'm putting more emphasis on actually feeling the muscle and squeezing the muscle rather than just like momentum type thing. It's almost like when you load a leg press in the day. It's quite, if you had that leg press loaded up, you got 2 spotters. The only thing you're thinking about is push the fucking weight. I don't want it to kill me. Just push the weight. When you go a bit lighter, you're more like, squeeze the quad, feel the quad and shit like that. So
and that's how it goes.
Because it's almost like when you slow it down, you're actually able to actually think during the rep rather than just push.
I think that's the best part is when you lower it and you really just focus on each rep properly.
Yes.
You're gonna be fucked. Like,
and you feel the muscle too. It's like I said, with just pushing a leg press like this, you don't feel anything. When you slow it down, you can feel the actual legs, the fibers moving. You can feel the muscle pumping. Like chest, if you were to do chest like this, you don't really feel anything apart from your fucking shoulders sometimes. But if you're actually squeezing it, you can feel the chest get tight and pumped. You feel the burn.
Well, it's like when I do walking lunges now, I usually end my leg days with walking lunges. I honestly just use body weight. I don't even use weight anymore. Because I just do it in a way where I'm able to burn my legs without using weight now, that I get a bigger pump than if I was to use an actual weight.
Yeah.
Well, I pretty much finish on walking lunges too now. But what I'll do is, as I said, I'll go down the room and back. Yeah, go lunge. I might go 1, 2 this leg, 1, 2 that leg, just to make it a bit up.
Okay, yeah.
And then when I get back, I'll try and do as many body weight squats as I can without locking out, just coming up. You know, when you stand on stage and your legs are tensed, I'll do like 30 or 40 body weight squats. And then when I'm totally finished, I go sit against the wall, like those static holds where you're sitting against the wall in a seat. and just see how long I can hold it. It's like your legs start.
You start getting fucking baby deer legs.
Yeah,
So
but
how
I find that more of a challenge. Doing shit like that now more fun.
I agree.
Jay told me when he was at his best, he was doing all like the different types of like yoga and stretching and like all those different like shit in the gym. He said that's when he was at his best. He said he was doing all the different like sorts of shit, like the battle ropes and all that. How do you go about? Well, we can end with this one, or we can just ask one good one. I'll let Nick ask the last one. It's hard. This is a hard question to answer. We talk about the TikTok and the filming, and obviously, Lee, you're one of the best bodybuilders to ever live. Nick is on his way to win fucking a Mr. Olympia, or he won Arnold Classic, and obviously, you guys film yourselves in the gym, or you have videographers film you sometimes, or you got to film content for your sponsors or whatever. So how do you? Because I know for me, I get aggravated sometimes where I see the fucking tripods all over the place, or like Nick, the gyms in Jersey that like are just tripod fucking haven with everybody. And it's like, how do you mitigate that kind of damage when you're trying to like express how important it is to train hard and focus on training and not social media when you're the one who's always filming and being filmed? Because for me, I get a lot of backlash for constantly getting on people about being on their phones and filming, but everybody's like, well, you're getting filmed. And I'm like, I'm in a position to be filmed. You have 100 followers. They're like,
filming.
And then people go, well, how do you expect me to get followers to get a bigger name if I'm not filming content? And I'm like, well, you compete and you do good and you become one of the best in the world, and that's how you get noticed. And people film you then.
Get abused all the time because I always say you shouldn't have your phone in the gym unless you're a doctor on call. It's like we're on our phones so much. If you can't go an hour and a half without your phone, they got to say you want to record your. Like I'll be on it when I'm doing cardio just to pass time. But if I was like Nick getting ready for a show, I wouldn't want my phone there because this is my gym time where I'm focused on training, doing my shit. If I wanted to film something, say I just did chest.
Yeah, but you have to admit, Lee, that now it's different though, because now you have like Nick has to have his phone on him in the gym.
But I'll do it.
It doesn't matter.
I'll do it at the end though. Whoever's training with me, I'd say, listen, you film it. I don't want to do it for starters. Yeah. I don't want to think about it. But the ones that do it themselves, I'm like, okay, do it at the end of your workout. Do your whole chest workout. Then when you finish, just go back and film one set of each of what you've done. Because I said to people, where it's music, I don't care what's playing in the gym or whatever. World Gym had no music for the whole time I was there. But I tell people, even if you had your phone like this and you're training hard, you're in the zone, okay, I'm going to look for this song for this set of squats. And you go to change the song, and you're like, oh, hold on, I got 5 messages. We all fucking do it. Let me just see who they're from.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, she's mad at me. Oh, shit, man. Then your whole fucking mindset, no matter what the message is, your mindset's lost from the focus of your training. So I wouldn't like to say, I wouldn't do it personally. If I had like a training partner, I'd say, listen, I'm going to sit here and focus on this set. When I go do it, fucking film me. But I wouldn't, that way I don't touch it. Because then if you touch it, you get too tempted to look at shit. And then before you know it, 10 minutes has gone past. You're like, oh, fucking hell, I've got to go back and do my set. Or if I was by myself, I'd film it after.
Yeah, like with one of the magnets or something you attach to the equipment. Nick, what do you do? I mean, I know you have a videographer, but like, are you like, I obviously see that you film your stuff and it's on your Instagram and your social media platforms.
Yeah, I will be one of those guys. I'll set up my phone somewhere and film a set. Yeah. Or if Maria's in the gym, I'll just say, hey, can you take this video real fast?
Does it ever get annoying? But it will only be all the people that are fucking doing it, and you're like, and I people are going to be like, that's an asshole thing to say, but do you ever get annoyed and like people are setting up and you're like, what are you filming? Like, what do you feel like? Who are you filming for?
I do. I see them all the time. I tried not to because I don't want to be that dickhead. I know. Like there was this kid at the gym, like, I don't know, $120 soaking wet, got his shirt off, got his fancy tripod, fancy camera, filming himself doing something. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like,
and then you're the asshole for saying that. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, what are you like in the mother of all fucks? What are you doing?
He's doing the, going like this and shit. And I'm like, what? You're not even doing it right.
And it's like,
No,
it's like when you,
but I can't say that because I look like the dickhead, you know.
Because then one person goes on social media and says Nick Walker is an asshole because he did this, and
Yeah.
that's
I
it.
give him A for confidence because I see them and I'm thinking, what the fuck are you looking at? Even me at my best, I never wore a tank top in the gym. Photographers will get mad at me. Lee, we've got to meet at this gym for a photo shoot. I'll get there. I'll be like, too many people. They're like, what do you mean? I said, I'm not taking my shirt off and doing it, but we have to. I said, then find another location. I would do it early tomorrow. I'm not doing it. So I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't take my shirt off. They're like, but you do it for a living. I said, that's on stage. I said, we're in a public gym now with other people. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to be stared at like that. So when I see these kids posing and some take their shirt off, I'm like, what the fuck are you looking at? I'm just thinking,
But I sometimes I think like you. I'm like, man, if I only had their confidence, I could be fucking. I'd
Yeah,
be so
I'm the
better.
opposite. When I'm close to a show and I'm training, I'll take my shirt off. I don't give a fuck.
No.
like I would like if I was alone, like if I went into like the change room, but even then I used to practice my posing in a tracksuit because, you know, in your mind, I get a good pump. I'm like, fuck, I'm feeling pumped in my mind. I'm picturing how I look. I take my shirt off and go, oh, fuck, you look like shit. So I put my shirt back on. I remember there's a training video on YouTube. It's early morning. I'm at Gold's at World Gym on the back balcony. The sun's coming up. Artie Zeller's there and that. And I remember I had like these Superman black shorts on with the S on and a tank top. And I was so pissed I had to do it in a tank top. I'm like, fuck, I'm doing shoulder. And I'm just like, I was so fucking angry because I'm like, you look like shit. This is fucking pathetic. Now I see the video. I'm like, fuck, I look pretty good back then.
But Lee, that was, I mean,
That's how
Nick,
it always is.
back then. I mean, dude, when I was at BSN, they used to have to come up to me and be like, guy, can you take your jacket off? You've been here for 3 hours and your jacket's still on. Or like if I was in the gym and I was like filming for like MD or Flex, and the photographer would be like, hey, can you just at least take your shirt off so your tank top? Like I have a tank top under my t-shirt. I would take my t-shirt off, do my set in the tank, and then I'd put my fucking my t-shirt back on.
Nah, man, I take my whole shirt off. Let's fucking do this.
Yes, yeah.
I'd be
Well,
like,
you're
I'd be like, Lee, can you do a photo shoot? We're doing legs. Can you do it shirtless? I'm like, why not be wearing no fucking shirt doing legs? You're meant to be looking at my legs, not fucking anything else. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
That's like guys that wear tank tops and squat. I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense.
back
Nick, I don't
then
know
too,
if you
like
do
when Chris used to do those photo shoots
here in
they-
Vegas,
Well, it's
I'll wear a
hot.
tank top and squat, my friend.
well, it's hot as fuck out there. I mean, there's obviously
it's 118 degrees, bro.
Yeah,
I see it on the news here everywhere. Heat wave in America. Make sure you stay hydrated. Check on the elderly. It's so hot. Newsflash, people in America. It's fucking summertime. It gets fucking hot. and when winter comes, I hate to break it to you. If you live
yeah, it's
back east,
cold.
gonna get fucking cold and maybe a bit of snow. So be prepared for that too.
All right, Nick,
Keep your inside.
because me and Lee, we can talk. We don't shut the fuck up. I'm gonna allow you.
You're gonna allow me. Ooh,
Last
thanks,
question.
guy.
Make the last question good for the podcast. The last one.
I
Because
don't
about
wanna be
2.5 hours.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here, but I don't have any good ones. I'm gonna be honest with you. These are all kind of shit.
Are you serious? You don't have any good ones?
I'm 100. I would look through all of them.
Let me look. Let me open these
Don't
up.
mention the name, but read a shit one. And we just won't answer it.
What'd you say? What
Say
normally?
the person's name in the question and we'll go, that's shit. We're not going to answer it.
I
At least
don't.
their
I
name
don't.
gets
I don't even understand this. I'm just going to ask it. What Ian Valaire and Nick think of Lee comments about C-Bum on Normless Pod last week?
I didn't see the podcast.
What's Normless?
Lee, what did you say about C-Bum?
I think I said he could be in the open. I think he'd be great in the open because of his structure and that. Oh,
I
they might
agree.
have said, that might have been it.
I think if C-Bum wanted to go into the open now, for that matter, I actually could see him in the top 10.
Yeah, that's what
How's
I
this?
said. I said,
Hold on,
if
there's
it's
a
judged
follow-up.
correctly like they used to. Like if you look at him and it's judged fairly, I think he could do well because he's got the small waist, and if you put a bit more added size on, stuff. I think that's what I said, something like that.
Somebody else also said, Lee said, Arnold said on Normless podcast, Arnold would beat C-Bum. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think he would. Because Seabum's good, but when you look at Arnold, there's just something about Arnold. Like Chris looks great, but Arnold's chest and back, and I think
Nick, I want to hear your opinion. Seabum versus Arnold.
I compete on not answering this question.
Arnold 73.
Answer the fucking question.
I would pick.
Pull up Arnold's picture. Arnold Schwarzenegger, 1970.
I think as an overall package, I would pick Seabum.
What do you want? Where do you want me to go? To where?
It's a black
I
screen.
think Arnold 1973 was one of his best, wasn't it?
I think I'd pick Seabum. Body Bud.
Body Bud.
It
Body Bud. This was a crazy picture back in the day.
Yeah.
This one right here.
I
What
just think
picture, really? Like
him in 73, just like I said, I think it would be close, but I think he'll just nudge him out.
Here's the picture.
I don't know. Click on there, go
Yeah.
boys.
I founded a book. Thanks, that guy. If I read a book.
There you go. I mean, that's pretty wild. I mean, so see, for me, every time I click on it, the picture goes fucking.
See,
That's what I like.
I think the
See that
difference.
See that one of Arnold and Frankie? That's what I like to see. The
So
Olympia.
so for me,
say the Olympia was 5'7" and under and over 5'7", and then have an overall. That would be good for the fans.
oh, I agree. But Lee, you when I look at this, I mean, I think, you know, he's more bubbly right here. He's bubbly in the chest and the shoulders. But overall, like, I mean, I think Chris would fucking destroy this.
Yeah. Look, I can't argue with you. You got Alzheimer's, so I'm going to give you a break. So
you don't think you think you honestly think that Arnold, I mean, even especially in the legs, I mean, how hard Chris's legs are just in general would I think would beat that. No,
I think Arnold would just edge him.
I don't know, man. I think that might be the golden era talking and not the fucking truth.
I've never, like, Arnold wasn't even anyone that I looked up to. You know, I got on good with him at the gym and that. I see him every day. But I remember one day I was doing leg extensions, him and Eddie Giuliani. Eddie was the one in pumping iron that jumps in Arnold's arms. But he trained him all the time. Got on great with Eddie. I was there doing leg extensions one day and I was just doing set after set. And Arnold's like, "You think you've done enough?" Eddie's like, "Yeah, Lee, you think you've done enough?" So I stopped and just sat there and said, "You two, you know what? You're fucking right." I said, "Why am I killing myself doing this shit when I'm going to get older and look as fucked as you two in the end?" Arnold's
How old are they?
Huh?
How old are they?
Well, I don't know. That would have been in mid-2000s. So, you know.
Oh, so he was already up there.
You know, I used to train with Roland Kickinger a bit. You know, Roland looked at me.
Yeah, he's the actor. Yep.
I would always be like, "Roland, why is it the short guy always wants to train with the taller guy?" I'm like, "I don't know, but why is the short guy always fucking much stronger?"
True story. And Nick's a freak. Nick's one of the strongest kids I've ever seen. Period. Handle weight. Nick reminds me the way he handles weight of a Luke Sandow, just controlled, heavy.
Yeah.
Doesn't even make a peep. It's crazy. So
That's the thing. I never made a noise. There's a guy, you know, Joe Gold.
Neither did I.
Joe Gold would come into the gym, right? There'd be a tourist there, screaming, drops the weights. Joe Gold would go over, throw the money at him, "Get the fuck out of the gym." And then he'd point to me and go, "See him over there? He can squat 7 plates. I wouldn't even know he's in the gym. You're making all this noise. Get the fuck out." Joe Gold would kick him out the gym.
I like having fun in the gym and expressing myself and screaming and getting in people's faces. That's part of the enjoyment for me.
Well, I don't like it, so don't get in my face, guy.
Shut up,
Yeah.
Nick. So Lee, I'm gonna ask you a question to end.
You'll be one of those guys that come in and go, "Who the fuck is that idiot screaming?"
I enjoy. Listen, I go to the gym. I'm there. I get excited. I'm excited to fucking work out every day. So when I go there, I fucking
And don't
exercise.
make porn movies and shoot your load and go, "Whoa!" Scream all you want.
That's how I have to look when I'm fucking blowing my load like this.
I don't know.
Uh,
I'd hate to see your cum face. It'd be an image I could never get out of my face. If I ever saw it.
Come here. Fucking,
What is your cum face, guy? Just show us. What is your cum face? Try
just
and do it.
straight neutral like this.
Oh, fuck off.
I hit him with the fucking neutral face. I'm like this. Huh, huh. So
But you
wait,
see why you-
I
see
want to
why
ask you.
single.
This is we'll end with this one. What is your
Mm.
single, and it could be amateur with your mother, something with your mother. What is your single most memorable moment in bodybuilding? Period. Number one.
In building.
In bodybuilding, not life, in bodybuilding.
Wouldn't it probably be the shows? I think it's just memorable things
Just-
when I remember.
No. One thing that in your mind you're like, that's my one memory that stands above all of them. There's got to be one. You have
I think just walking out on stage one time, and my grandmother would always, the crowd would be quiet. She'd just yell out, "Beautiful!" Like her voice would just echo through the auditorium. And then somebody would say something. She goes, "He is beautiful." It's like I was listening to Nick tell the story about how his mum defends him. I remember the story. I used to go to the shopping malls, right? I always walk ahead. My grandmother's behind me, and so many times I'd be walking ahead, I hear, I'm like, what the fuck? I turn around, and my grandmother's just abusing somebody because I've walked past, they've gone steroids. She'd be like, steroids? She's like, steroids? Do you know how hard he trains, how many hours he's in the gym? My grandmother's just fucking laying into him.
So she was a hardcore fucking Lee Freeze fan.
She followed bodybuilding. She had photos all over the kitchen wall. Vince Comerford came to our place for lunch once back in the day because I was over doing a seminar. I've got a photo somewhere. Susan Bray come over and called her out of the audience, and my grandmother's up there with her head on Susan Bray's chest. Oh, she was like, she'd watch movies, and I'd put on the old Olympia training things or the Olympia videos.
Battle for the Olympias.
She'd hear a song and she'd be in the kitchen. That's Albert Beckles on. That's Joseph Wilcott's on. That's Rich Gaspari posing. Like, she watched it that many times. She knew everyone. Samir.
Exactly how my mom is.
Samir would call up and chat to my grandmother all the time and stuff like that. So she loved bodybuilding. It's like to the point where that's why sometimes I would talk on the phone, because it's almost like, it's almost like they're into it more than me.
Yes.
And I would be like, Jesus Christ, calm down. You're enjoying it more than I do. But yeah, it's like, yeah, but you can't. And it was good though, because I'd always, like I said, I lived there, and even my grandfather, when we do cardio, I could have the days like when it's raining and freezing cold. I'm like, fuck yeah, sleep in today. There'll be a knock on my bedroom window. I'm like, what the fuck? I look out. He's out there in a raincoat on the bike. Let's go. I'm like, you stupid old fucking bastard.
See, the best thing about this, and I'll end with this, is when I brought up what was the best memory about in bodybuilding, you brought up having something to do with family, and then relate it to Nick. And as soon as you mentioned family to Nick lit up like a Christmas tree. So it just goes to show when you have good people and good family surrounding you, your life is a little bit better, and family and friends do bring happiness if you have the right people around you. So
definitely. And even if you don't have family, just friends, because like I said, even Nick would know, you could do all these accomplishments in life, but if you don't have anyone to share it with, or people you can talk about, or your family that loves you and encourages you, then it's really pointless, isn't it? So
you have nothing.
even though you love doing it, having the family there is like just so much better. And then, like I said, having my mum get into it in the beginning, because my mum was plump, and she goes, if I ever get in shape, would you compete with me? I'm like, yeah, whatever, you get in shape, I'll do it. Then she got in shape, and at 17, I'm like, fuck, now I've got to go on stage with my mother. Jesus Christ, this is going to be embarrassing. But we went and learnt this routine and everything. And my mother tells this story where she's on the other side of the stage. So I go walking to see her for a minute. And she's like, oh, Lee's coming to give me some advice because I just won the Mr. Australia. And I just looked at her and said, you ready to go on? She's like, yeah, I'm nervous. I said, okay, but don't you fuck this up on me. Then I walked off. And she's like, so
famous last words.
Yeah, halfway through the routine, we stand up, we come out of the pose, we stand up, and she's just standing there looking at me blank. I'm like, oh, fuck, she's forgotten the routine. So I reach out and take her hands and just take her into a pose. And I look down, the judges are crying, people are crying. Everyone's like, that part of the routine where you took your mother's hand, that was beautiful. My mum's like, yeah, because I fucking forgot what I was doing.
That's fucking great. Oh my God, Lee, Man, I could talk to you for hours, dude. You are definitely a unique human being and one of my favorite people, dude. I really appreciate you.
It's been a nice way to say fucked up, guy. Thank you.
No, you are fucked up, but you are so unique, and you have a lot of cool perspectives and a lot of bodybuilding stories. And I know me and Nick could listen to you talk for hours, and we'll definitely have you back on. And I know the time difference. What time is it there? It's super late or early or whatever. It's early.
It's 12:38 p.m. on Thursday. See that you're actually talking to somebody in the future.
Yeah, because it's only 10:40 p.m. here, and then I got one day, and I gotta leave on Friday for Houston.
Nick thinking now, how the fuck is Lee on Thursday? He's a whole thing.
I know you want to.
You can tell the future, bro.
That's pretty cool.
Do you want Thursday's lotto numbers? I'll get them for you.
If it was only that easy, I'd be driving fucking something way better than a TRX.
Dollars over there. It's almost $1 billion on that jackpot.
Yeah.
Now is it just me? But is $1 billion too much for one person? Why couldn't they break that up into 10 million increments and spread the wealth around the country?
Lee, I don't think that far ahead because not $1 goes to lottery tickets because my luck ain't that good to where if I spent money on a lottery ticket, I would recoup any of that money. So I don't do that shit.
How do you know? Just buying one quick pick could change your life.
When you're here, we'll buy lottery tickets. Anything we win, we'll split. All right. Done.
But knowing Guy, he'd probably come on. I went to get a quick pick. You know what happened to me? Got fucking sideswiped on the way down there. Then when I got there, fucking
ended up costing myself a $500 deductible.
Yeah, I go in to buy the ticket, and guess what? The place gets held up. I get a gun pulled on me. I didn't have my gun, so I couldn't do anything.
All the guns and no ammo. Oh God, I gotta go eat. I'm tired, Lee. 2 hours and 40 minutes longest podcast, and we could have gone for another 2 hours and 40 minutes because me and you just fucking can talk. But
now those people that ask those questions are going to be like, "Oh, you didn't ask him," and then now Nick's going to get the hate mail. The ones that asked him, "How dare you say all these questions are shit?"
let the fire rain down on him. I get enough fucking fire rain down on me on a daily basis. But no, Lee, in all honesty, man, you're a true inspiration, and thank you for all you do for bodybuilding and just people in general. You're a true one of a kind human being, and I'm proud to call you a friend. And you were a huge inspiration to myself and many coming up in the bodybuilding world. So just thanks for all that you do, and I'm looking forward to having you here in October. We're gonna have some good times.
Oh yeah, look out
when you're here. So until next time.
Dave, when I told Dave I was coming on, Dave said, "Remind Guy when you used to go to Dave's place." He said, "Dave." Guy would just start cleaning and clean my coffee table and stuff.
Putting his shoes in order and fucking straightening up his fucking living room. And yeah,
crazy. I do the same.
You'll see.
I went to England and Giles Thomas there. I cleaned his whole apartment when I was just after the universe, when I was doing seminars. He comes down, I'm vacuuming, dusting his place. I'm like, how do you fucking live it like this?
People just, you gotta live the OCD lifestyle to understand it.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, go eat. I can see your Nick's like a jonesing for a fucking meal. You're looking a little flat, buddy. Go eat.
Nick's like.
I lost my fullness.
Nick in his mind's thinking, 2 hours, 40 minutes. I'm sick of talking to these two old cunts. Fucking hell, how did I get stuck here? These two old retired cunts won't shut up. Hey, Nick, this is your future, mate. Look at it.
Yeah, get ready. It's gonna be the mangled mutant in mouth.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. Love you both. Appreciate you. And episode number, we don't give a fuck because we're here to stay. Mutant in the Mouth, myself, co-host Nick Walker, and the legend himself, Lee Priest. Appreciate you guys coming on. Like, comment, subscribe. Love each and every one of you. You can see my screen now, and we're rocking and rolling. Mutant in the Mouth. We're out. Assalamu alaikum.